Kendall Gammon will join us on site at noon. Mick Schaefer will be here with us as well.
It's
about
on
12:30.
site with Mick Schaefer.
On site. That's right. If Mick
Gammon
Schaefer shows up on site.
Yes, that's
right?
exactly
That's what it is with Mick sometimes. But we are hanging out here at ADA. We'll take a time out on the other side. I want to talk about a video from K-State that came out that was an exciting video, and a video that came out that was awkward, and a coach who is living out the final days of his head coaching tenure, in my estimation. We'll get into all of that as we continue rolling along. 913-912-4810. More Zone right after this. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Josh Briscoe, Dylan Michaels. We are hanging out here at ADA. It is located just across 9 Highway from Park Hill South, 635 and 9 Highway across Park Hill South. So if you know how to get to Park Hill South, then you'd know how to get to ADA. 5 days only, yesterday. So 4 days left, today, tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., and you are not paying the premium price you would pay if you're getting these items at an auction, which is the only other time you can get these items, these pieces of memorabilia, autographed collectibles. You'll get these at different charity auctions and things like that, and you will be outbidding other people that may find this particular piece as unique as you do, and they're willing to pay for it. Here, you find that piece, and you pay whatever the sticker price is for that. Like right in front of me, the seat backs has the Bobby Bell Hall of Fame 83, $99 for the Arrowhead seat back for Bobby Bell, signed with the HOF 83 as well. That's at a charity auction. Sure, opening bid $99. Yeah, I'll put that down there, and then we'll see what you end up at.
I know this is my favorite, and so I've been talking about this for a full year now. But you can get just an official Arrowhead Stadium seat back with the LIV at the top in the number spot for $30 for one that's not signed. Again, Bobby Bell for $99. It genuinely that seems like the most egregious deal in Chiefs merch for one of the coolest, most unique forms of it, because eventually they're going to run out of seat backs, and you probably, if you're listening to this, pretty good chance you've put your back on a seat like that at Arrowhead, perhaps before the renovation. And I think it's the coolest, most sort of perhaps most whimsical bang for your buck here.
I like that, whimsical.
It's a whimsical piece of sports
whimsical piece of sports memorabilia. Okay, so a couple of videos coming out of Manhattan and K-State sports. Let's talk about the fun one first.
Cool.
There was a decent level of concern when Colin Klein took the Texas A&M job because of Colin Klein being the main recruiter for Avery Johnson, and Avery Johnson then taking over for the Colin Klein offense and saying what a perfect fit, what a perfect quarterback for this offense. And if he goes to Texas A&M, does Avery Johnson find himself as happy in Manhattan as he would have been if Colin Klein was his offensive coordinator? An unknown of who the OC will be. Do they hire from within? Do they go outside and hire somebody? Will he get along with them? All of that stuff. So there was some concern. And then it was squashed to a degree of he's not going anywhere. And I think it is, again, I don't think this is coincidental in the timing of this video from Avery Johnson. But it's about 27 seconds or so. The video's about a minute because there's some things that are more of the visual aspect of it. But here's Avery Johnson. It's about 27 seconds in this video, essentially saying, don't worry about it, I'm here.
For me, it's never been just a number. It's a mentality, an attitude. It's a tradition. And although my number changed, our mission hasn't.
Pretty simple. He's going from number 5 to number 2. That's it. That's the video. Not a I'm staying. Don't worry. I love you, Manhattan. Cats fans. E-Mall. Let's Wabash Cannonball again. All together. No, it's just the numbers changed. Mission's the same. I am going to make an announcement. My future, I will be wearing a different type of jersey for K-State next year, and it'll be in college football next year.
Right.
It'll be the number 2 for K-State. I'm staying. Let's do it again, like Tim Tebow when they won the national. Let's do it again when he was on stage. But that was so simple. It was awesome. It was really well done, well produced, and that's it.
That's it.
Just I don't even need to acknowledge the fact that you guys thought I was leaving.
Yeah,
I'm not going to. I'm not even gonna mention that. All I'm saying is, hey, I'm just wearing a different number because it means so much to me that I'm changing to number 2. Number's different, mission's the same. Let's go. Which is also offensive coordinator's different, mission's the same.
Yep.
Let's roll.
Yep.
Let's go. Let's move forward. I thought it was a really good video, and with a lot of K-State fans, with news and different reports of, all right, I've heard that Avery Johnson's not going anywhere. Okay, that makes you feel better.
Nice to hear.
All right, calm. You're good. You got Avery Johnson as your quarterback moving forward. And there are no more there's no more of a, yeah, we're hearing that, but I just want to know. I mean, the transfer portal is open for a while. I just want to know that his name, blah, blah. And I do think back to last year when Colin Klein was being approached by Notre Dame. And it was a big deal for him to turn down Notre Dame last year. He didn't turn down Texas A&M, obviously, a lot of different reasons. But I think back to if this was December 5th of 2022 and Colin Klein took the Notre Dame job, and he was so close to Avery Johnson, who had never stepped foot as a student or an athlete at Kansas State at that time, and your closest person that you've developed a relationship with is now leaving to go to Notre Dame, am I still at K-State?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe he was like, I love Colin Klein, and I'm a Wildcat through and through, and if he's there, I don't care who's there, I'm going to be a K-State quarterback. I don't know what that would have been. What I know is he turned down Notre Dame. Avery Johnson stayed committed and signed on the dotted line on December 21st last year, and now he's continuing to be the K-State quarterback. That could have been a massive decision for Colin Klein, and it might have been, a selfish or a personal, whatever it might have been. But for the bigger picture of K-State, it might be the difference of Avery Johnson as your quarterback. And we know in college football, the quarterback is the ultimate difference maker because K-State's never going to be on the field when Alabama and Georgia are at their peak going talent for talent. They're never going to – it's just not many teams are. And K-State has chances, every year to make the playoff in the Big 12, essentially, with the health of the program right now with Chris Klieman, and especially with a number of years with Avery Johnson as your quarterback. They can make the playoff a number of times. And if you've got a playmaker, you've got a difference maker at that spot, he can overcome, especially in college, so many of the issues that may be there. Look at Dabo Swinney at Clemson. They got talent on. They stack recruiting class on recruiting class, but their national titles came with Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence. Mm-hmm. Not DJ Ugalungale, not with, I don't remember the kid's name this year that was going to be the next in line. It was top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the nation, 5-star can't-miss guys that you got the national championship with. And it took those guys to get over the hump of an Alabama and other teams while they also had crazy recruiting classes because those guys were difference makers at the college level. It's what Avery Johnson is as well, I believe. And it's a big deal that he's returning. And I thought it was a nice little kiss. I'm not even going to acknowledge it. Now number 2. Family number means a lot to me. Been 2 my whole life, and I'm going to continue being 2.
Shout out to Cade Klubnik for Clemson, also number 2. This is the other quarterback we could not come up with the name of.
There you go. And he was the next. Cade Klubnik. Klubnik's. This is. There you go. Clemson's got a QB again.
It's a really interesting question about it. If this all shakes up last year, regardless of what Avery Johnson's intent was at the beginning, and even the way, you could like visibly see the difference from fan bases when you have a player who has left after contributing versus a player who has transferred after barely playing as a freshman or certainly never actually setting foot on the field. You obviously have the incoming recruit hopes, but it's a very different thing once you've actually seen them on the field. A lot of people follow recruiting very closely. Everybody who's a fan of a team is watching the quarterback on game days. And so I don't know if that would have been different this time a year ago. What I do know is that he could have done like the re-recruiting thing of like have a K-State shirt and then take it off and have a Texas A&M shirt and then take it off and just have a number 2 jersey underneath it. He could have gone purple K-State jersey, number 2 A&M jersey, number 2 K-State jersey, and really milked it. But this is probably a better way.
What was Johnny Manziel number 2?
Oh, I think he was. I think he was. That's a good point.
Number 2 jersey. That's why he didn't go to. There it is. That's why he didn't go to A&M.
They weren't going to give it to him.
He didn't want to go and wear number 2 and be the next Johnny Manziel. He wants to be the first Avery Johnson. That makes total sense.
Makes complete
Absolutely.
sense.
Johnny Manziel has helped K-State continue their success as a football program because Avery Johnson is not going to be a Texas A&M football player and wear number 2 and just be in the shadow of Johnny Manziel. Hell no.
I have no intention of trying to make us actually talk about Thursday Night Football, but
Good.
In a similar vein, Mitchell Trubisky last night helped the Bears get the number 1 overall pick.
That's exactly right.
Think about that.
Yep.
Full circle.
It's smart. It's really smart. And to your point, like a Dante Moore, who was the number 1 or 2 quarterback in the nation last year and committed to UCLA, is in the transfer portal. He didn't even really play.
Right.
Like, he's one of the most coveted players out there, because it's like you've got Cam Ward, you've got these, Will Howard, you've got a lot of quarterbacks that are at DJ Ungalungle, I just mentioned, that are out there available, and Dante Moore is the most coveted one. And it's like, well, you've never really seen him play. Aiden Childs from Oregon State, he played behind DJ at Oregon State. And now he's going to, I believe, Michigan State because he's following his coach to Michigan State. And he was a big-time recruit as well. So you got a couple of guys that haven't really played that were huge recruits that are the top quarterbacks in the transfer portal because of, how good they are. And Avery Johnson is not that. He is not that guy. He's moving forward. There's some other things that we'll talk about with K-State. The Jerome Tang video that was put out there, and we'll get into Sean McDermott being dumb. But Matt Derrick will join us at 11 o'clock. We'll hear from Lee Sterling on the other side of the break, hanging out at ADA. We'll tell you more about it as we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Well, in the NBA, the game can change in an instant. Maybe not last night's games changing in an instant, although the third quarter was pretty big for the Bucks. Didn't matter in the end because Halliburton was pretty awesome. But the game can change in an instant, but no matter how the action unfolds, DraftKings Sportsbook has your back. And this week, new customers can score $150 instantly in bonus bets just for betting $5 on basketball. Win or lose, you get an instant dub. And yesterday you got a little late afternoon, little matinee basketball with Bucks and Pacers in the in-season tournament starting at, 4 o'clock Central Time that game started? 2 o'clock out in the West Coast as, Lakers fans getting ready for the nightcap with Lakers in action and watching who they may be facing off against in the finals at 4 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the afternoon for them. So it's going on all day, essentially. But, look, best of all, it's safe, it's secure, reliable, 24/7 support. You can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code 810WHB. New customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on basketball. It's only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code 810WHB. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 or over. Physically present in Kansas. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball. Terms on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort.
Cutting it close with last-minute gift shopping? Helzberg has you covered. It's Helzberg Diamonds must-have holiday sale. Up to 50% off on dazzling lab-grown diamond hoops and stacking bands, diamond pendants, and tennis bracelets. Get the perfect gifts for that special someone. Last-minute shopping has never been so joyful. So don't wait. Head to a Helzberg store near you or Helzberg.com.
Offer valid through December 24th while supplies last. See online or in-store for details.
When you need a battery, it's Wholesale Batteries. Since 1977, Wholesale Batteries is one of the largest full-line battery suppliers in the Midwest, serving commercial, industrial, OEM, and retail customers. Call 913-342-0113. Wholesale Batteries. Who's going to win and by how much? You're about to find out from national sports handicapping champion Lee Sterling on The Zone. Log on to ParamountSports.com or call toll-free 800-400-9741 to get started.
Welcome back into The Zone on this Red Friday. Kansas City Chiefs are hosting the Buffalo Bills. It seems like every year they're going to play the Bills at home, and it's been not so good in the regular season, much better in the postseason. Here to talk about that and what else is going on in the National Football League is Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports to give us that inside edge. Lee, Double Down December is underway.
It is, and we started off with a boom last weekend. We ended up going 4-0 Sunday, 1-0 Monday night, perfect 5-0, wind up 8-2 on the weekend. So been a fun season and a very profitable one. We've only had 2 losing Sundays all year. We've only had 2 losing NFL records on the weekend. So it's been an incredible run. And then the bowl games got hot again in college football. We've got 36 bowl games coming up soon. So this is the best time of year.
Really is fun for sure, no doubt about that. Let's talk about some games, okay?
Yep.
There's quarterback injuries all over the league, and there's some of these teams are getting used to it now. Like Jake Browning, we're going to talk about the Colts and the Bengals. He was really good last week. They got a win. They won on Monday night. It was pretty good for him. I don't know if he can repeat that. They're at home, but this is basically kind of a pick-em game. The Colts are a slight favorite over the Bengals.
They are, and here's what's interesting. The line was Indianapolis -3 before that game. When the game was completed, went down to 1, and it's pretty much stuck there. So they're saying that his performance is worth 2 points, and he was really good. But I don't know if he's going to have that kind of career performance again. So tip your cap to the kid. First career win as a starter. I just think it's doubtful he can repeat here. Colts have their own spark plug here. Gardner Minshew, he's led them to 4 consecutive wins and covers, or 7-5 this year after going 4-12-1 last year. They've scored at least 27 points in 5 of the last 6 games. Also, defense underrated, 42 sacks, second best in the NFL here. I think Cincinnati had a great performance, used up a lot of energy. I don't think they can repeat that here. I like Indianapolis here, 24-17.
Yeah, it's definitely a big one to watch in the wild card for those teams. They're all kind of hanging around there. Another one is the Cleveland Browns. I don't know how they have the record they have, but they're kind of surviving, and they're going to be facing a Jacksonville team that's smarting, right? Trevor Lawrence is hurt. Even if he tries to play, it's not going to be at full strength. They had their first ever home Monday night game in like a decade or something. They got to be a little bit deflated here. How are you reading this one?
Well, I don't think they want to come out and say that he's out, but I can't see him playing. And then do you really want him playing in cold, rainy, and windy conditions? I think it would be a huge mistake here. Their offense drops down many levels without him, and also without Christian Kirk, who's done for the season after that Monday night defeat here. Jacksonville, first time they're going to go into some bad weather here. I think this Browns defense is very well coached, giving up the least amount of yards, total yards and passing yards per game. So Joe Flacco, not great, but he at least gives you that type of weapon that if you have to throw the ball down the field, you can. And don't be surprised if they bring in one of their backups, Dorian Thompson-Robinson or P.J. Walker, well, let's say once they get near the goal line, want to use a wildcat, different type of package there. So they could do that. So I just think that this Jacksonville team, just the setup, weather, without their quarterback, without one of their big weapons down the field here, and coming off a deflating loss, I just think they realize that now the emphasis has changed. They were trying to maybe get home court field advantage for the entire postseason. Now I think it's just winning the division here. I like Cleveland at home here. Remember, they still have a really good running attack here, 7th best ground game. Cleveland, 23-13.
We're talking to Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. And, Lee, this is an interesting one. We talk about December to remember at Paramount Sports. Baltimore's December started off with a bye, right? And this week they've got their easy game. I don't like to look ahead too much, but this is the last easy one they've got because they're going to play. They're playing the Dolphins. They're playing the Niners. They got all these things coming up. They got the Rams at home this week. I know they're not going to look ahead. They should beat the Rams by 7 points, right?
They should. You know, they're tied for the best record in the AFC. They are not going to hold any punches here. Zay Flowers and running back Keaton Mitchell have really become more involved in the offense, upgraded that speed element to their attack here. What do the Rams have on defense? Not much. Aaron Donald, they just don't have many other above-average players on that defense, but they've been playing with the lead. They are well coached here. But here's the problem. They're going to need to throw the ball, and I think come from behind here. And the Ravens, second-best pass defense, got back Marlon Humphrey. Demarion Williams looks like he'll return also. They lead the NFL in sacks with 47, number one in scoring defense, holding opponents to 15.6 points per game here. And also just think that John Harbaugh, got to remember, he's really tough off the bye. So Rams have won 3 in a row for the first time here since capturing the Super Bowl in 2021. But Ravens here have blown out comparable, if not better, teams here. They beat the Texans by 16 points, Seahawks by 34, and the Lions by 32. And how about this record? 18-1 versus NFC opponents with Lamar Jackson here. Baltimore big here, 31-14.
Then it gets tough for them at Jacksonville, at San Francisco, Miami. It's going to be a rough December for them, but they should get this one for sure. Now, it looks like your Miami Dolphins are right back where they wanted to be. They're sitting atop the AFC right now. With the Chiefs lost, they've got a tiebreaker over them. Another team that they're better than, when they play the teams they're better than, they win pretty big, and they got a big number to lay against the Tennessee Titans, 13.5 points.
Yeah, they do. But here's the problem for Tennessee. If they wanted to have a chance in this game, they needed to have all their weapons. Maybe the biggest loss is Jeffrey Simmons, by far the best defensive lineman, one of the better ones in the league. Also lost their puntable, reliable punter Ryan Stonehouse. He's done for a year with a leg injury. Miami, as you mentioned, won 6 of their last 9 games by 14 points or more. They average 32 points. They rank first in passing yards and total yards here, getting healthy at running back. Tennessee ranks last in takeaways. So I just don't see how they're going to keep up here. And like I said, the weather looks good here. Monday night, I think Miami wants to make a statement here, and they've beaten up on the bad teams. And Tennessee is one of those bad teams. Sometimes you got to lay it if you want to play it. Miami big here, 34-13.
Yeah, they look like they've got it rolling again for sure. Now, the big one for folks in Kansas City coming off the loss against the Packers is this Bills game. And, you know, people kind of dismissed the Bills a month ago maybe that things weren't going well for them. But the Bills come to Kansas City, and if it's a regular season game, they beat the Chiefs. I mean, that's what they do. And they don't have room for a loss. The Bills need to win their games. And if the Chiefs want any hope of having home field advantage, they can't lose a game. And I don't trust the Chiefs to not be able to lose a game this year. They're less than a favorite than you'd expect for a home team that's a Super Bowl champ. Only 1.5 points here against Buffalo.
Buffalo is desperate, 6-6. So they are going to have to win out or win 4 or 5 to get in the playoffs. Just that easy. They're not going to catch the Dolphins here. And coming off the bye, I think it's going to help them. Also, I'm watching their defense. Told people early their defense is going to have problems. You know, they lost one of their best defensive linemen, lost their best linebacker, their best cover corner. But it looks like they're finally learning to play with their defensive replacements. So that bye week to prepare for this game is big here. The other teams that are in the wild card hunt, Steelers, Browns, Colts, all lost number one quarterbacks, and even Jacksonville, who's ahead of them. So this is a big game for them here. They just need to. What's crazy is you look at what they've done. They're plus 101 points this year, but somehow they have a 6-6 record. Kansas City plus just 67 points on their opponents is sitting at 8-4. So this is a desperate team. I was troubled, by the way. I thought that Kansas City just showed no emotion. Green Bay was like their Super Bowl. This looks like it's going to be Buffalo's Super Bowl. And Josh Allen running and throwing, it's a tough out. And then also, I think they discovered Gabe again. He's one of their guys. And when you look at far as weapons, They've always had Diggs. Diggs has been their guy, but they need Gabe Davis. They need him to be that guy. And last week they finally rediscovered him. He's 6'2", 225 pounds, a really tough cover. So I like Buffalo here. This is going to be probably one of those games comes down to the last drive. You get 2.5 points here. I like Buffalo, 28-27.
Yeah, the Chiefs games always seem to come down to the last drive.
Yep.
I am really excited for what you have as the game of the week because I think it's the game of the week in the league between Dallas and Philly. Philly was kind of living on the razor's edge for a while, and now they're going to be facing the Cowboys on the road. That's your game of the week for free.
Yep. Anyone wants to get it, all they need to be one of the first 5 callers. Call 800-400-9741. Get that game for free. 800-400-9741. Get the game for free. And we have 2 different options you want to get involved. Let's say you just want to try the games on Sunday. We've only had 2 losing Sundays. 5 selections, $55. Or how about this? Call it Double Down December. Get 4 weeks of the NFL season. You're going to get 36 bowl games. Our selections on 36 games through December 31st. Normally, $447. Lower the price to $247. No one can match our record, our documented record. College football in the NFL this year. $100 to $200 bettors up almost $5,000 on the season. So you want to get involved. Double Down December, every single game through December 31st on our phone service, college football bowl games, and also the NFL, or NFL 5 for $55, just $55 for our top 5 selections. One place, ParamountSports.com.
Sounds great, Lee. We will talk to you next week when December rolls on. The Zone will roll on next on this Red Friday on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
The Zone is presented by Guaranteed Foods, delivering all natural food to Midwestern families since 1958. Enjoy healthier food, more free time, free delivery, and better value. Go to GuaranteedFoods.com.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Josh Briscoe, Dylan Michaels. We had up until 2 o'clock. We'll talk with Matt Derrick here very shortly. He is en route. He will be here at ADA, our location today, as they have their open house going on, which happens 5 days out of the year. Yesterday was one of those days. Today, tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday, the other 4 days where you can come in and check out all of these phenomenal pieces of memorabilia, keepsakes, collectibles, autographs, unique things that you may not just simply find at some other collector stores and things like that. You can get here at ADA. It's right across from Park Hill South, 635 and 9 Highway. You can go check them out, adafundraising.com. Again, 5 days only, yesterday, and then today, tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday. And they've got a number of other cool things going on. They've got a toy drive with Deneric Prince with partnership with Holiday Heroes tomorrow from 1:30 to 3. You donate toys or clothes or give a $25 donation. You get a free Deneric Prince signed 8x10 autograph, and also you get the feeling of knowing that you're donating and you're giving back. They also have, outside of just the toy drive, they have their general giving back this holiday season, which they will do drawings to win signed items. They are collecting items for the homeless. For every 10 items or $5 that you donate, you get 1 entry into the drawing. It can be non-perishable food items, hygiene products, gently used blankets, coats, shoes, etc. They gave away last year 10 different signed jerseys, footballs, mini helmets, and more. So every $5 donation, you get an entry into the drawing, and they're going to draw out 10 different autographed items that they will be giving away. That goes out throughout the holiday season. So if you come up here and you want to give a $5 donation, boom, you walk away with something, and you also might get another autographed jersey or football or mini helmet with the collection for the homeless this holiday season. And again, tomorrow, Deneric Prince with the toy drive. And then at 5 o'clock tomorrow, Luther Burden III will be here at ADA signing autographs. The open house going on today, tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday. Luther Burden will be here tomorrow 5 to 6 with some autographs as well. So you can meet Luther Burden III. Not just any generic Luther Burden. It's Luther Burden III will be here at 5 to 6. Luther Burden I, 3 to 4. Luther Burden II will be here 4 to 5, and then Luther Burden III from 5 to 6.
I'm just here for the one that makes the potato chips.
That's the 4th.
I guess I'll be here for the 4th then.
Be with you. All right, 913-912-4810. We'll talk with Matt Derrick here in just a little bit, but I wanted to play this clip. You know, we talked a lot yesterday about the Naquan Tomlin situation going on in Manhattan and his dismissal from the basketball program on Wednesday night, and we discussed that yesterday, sort of the fallout, our reading of the tea leaves and things like that. Also, the fact that Gene Taylor released the statement and there was nothing from Jerome Tang, who released the statement when Naquan Tomlin was suspended. The statement you read was from Jerome Tang, yet the dismissal, Jerome Tang says nothing about that. They put out a video, did K-State basketball. This came out last night. Here is Jerome Tang and a message to K-State fans after what has been a tumultuous 24, 48 hours or so.
K-State family, it's time to hang with Tang. K-State family, we've had a lot of great discussions on this purple couch, and I really need you to hear my heart on this. We love Naquan Tomlin, and we are hurting for him. And we love this university. I love this university, every aspect of this university. I am in love with this university because of the special synergy that exists between the community, the university, and athletics. And we have to keep that moving forward. We have to move forward with love and togetherness and unity. Nothing fills my heart more than when I walk across campus and I see how we love each other. And so I'm asking you, all of us, to let's move forward with love. We elevated this program with love. We made this all about KSU, and I'm asking you to help me, help all of us, make this about KSU and spreading love. Can't wait to see you guys in Brown. Go Cats.
All right, there's the video they released, Jerome Tang. So that's the statement on Naquan Tomlin, is that they love Naquan Tomlin, they love him, the person, but it's about love at the university and about K-State, how much he loves the university, how much the university means to him, how much the love should be there with the fans. That is a head coach that, one, I believe if he was more a part of the decision, I think there may have been more said, or just a written statement. There might have been more said there about the relationship with Naquan Tomlin. He doesn't have to give out details, but, you know, this is something that it was not an easy decision that we came to. We hope nothing but the best for Naquan moving forward. He's going to graduate. We love the kid, our basketball program, this and that. This was Jerome Tang, to me, coming out as – so sometimes there's a – well, boy, this can be a tie-in with Sean McDermott. Like tragedies that take place in the country, and you can have a president that gets in front of the camera and talks to the general public. Is he going to change anything right then? Is it going to make it disappear? Does everything become better after that? No, but the president speaks to the country, and the hope is that it's a unifying, calming presence there, that, hey, here's our mission still, what's going on. To me, it's a basketball coach that is absolutely reading the room, in that there's a splintering with the fan base right now. There's an infighting with the fan base of whether it's against the university or K-State fans saying he clearly did something wrong or this happened, why are you guys defending him? And there's all this stuff going on, and it's starting to fracture and splinter. And with the players on his own team, if they're ticked off, mad, pissed about Naquan being dismissed, resentment starts to set in. They start thinking about that, about, wow, the university has our back, don't they? And now, are you giving everything you have on the floor? It is easy. It's one thing to go, well, yeah, but you're going to do that because you love the game and it's because it's personal. Man, everybody in life has had a day or two at work to where they're just sort of mad and they may not give it their all because they got other things going on. That is just life. And to me, that is a basketball coach that has taken the presidential approach of, this is about us, because if it's not, December 6th, could be the crossroads where they're undefeated in overtime and finding ways to win, to when they start finding ways to lose. And the next thing you know, you lose your basketball program, and now basketball team, and now you're starting over at the end of the year, because that group, Josh, was sitting there saying, yeah, we're doing this, we're keeping it together. Wait till we get Naquan back. Right. Wait till Naquan comes in here. And that's not happening anymore. So he's got to talk to his players to keep it together and about everybody in here. And you can be pissed at this or mad at that or upset at this, but it's about us because we still have a mission. We still have a job to do. And it's also to the K-State fans of you can be mad at some of those things over there, but we still have to come together here. And I want to see out at Bramlage. I don't want this to stop you from supporting this basketball team, because reality is your view of how good this team can be took a massive hit the other day.
And those conversations he's having in the locker room and in the meetings, all that, those conversations are more important than what he said in that video there. But that is the way that Jerome Tang is addressing the fans. And I will say that with all of that laid out, first of all, it's not a hard jump to get to K-State family. Let's ride. Like, there is sort of a Russell Wilson energy in all of that.
There is a little bit with Jerome Tang.
And that might just be that it's a little bit of a catchphrase in trying to name your fan base. And look, man, you talk about love all the time, love, 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 and eventually it's like, well, that's his thing. There are worse things to be your thing than to be the guy who loves love. That is not a criticism of Jerome Tang. But all he said about Naquan Tomlin was in that, like, 5-second window of we love Naquan and we love Love and I love being here, which is important.
Yeah.
Maybe in the Avery Johnson lane of like, hey, I'm just so you know, I'm not currently taking applications. But there was also nothing of substance in that actually puts Jerome Tang's opinion on the situation. What he said there is, here's how we're going to react to this, and here's where we're going to go from here, which is what a head coach should be saying. And that sort of presidential podium message, I think, is a really good comparison as opposed to Sean McDermott's. But looking at it this way, it gives the pointed direction of what's next and the attitude that Jerome Tang wants to bring. And I honestly think that Jerome Tang could lose every basketball game for 3 years and he would still be talking about Love in the post-game press conference, which is, again, is not a criticism. That's a compliment. That's consistency, and that's having a very clear compass for who you are as a coach. But I also clicked that video hoping to hear something tangible about the process and the decision.
Tangible.
Something tangible, and I never got that there. So I think all of the confusion, all of the questions about maybe some disconnects higher up, that did not assuage any of those conversations. What it did reemphasize is that Jerome Tang seems like a good dude to have in charge of your basketball program. Whispering parenthetically, don't screw it up.
One point on that, and then we'll bring in Matt Derrick here at ADA. The fan base and a lot of the reaction that we saw was then going back to what took place between Curry and Frank Martin and Jamar Samuels in a Syracuse game and a gas station with an ATM or whatever it was going on and the receipts and everything, and a coach that was beloved, that was good, that had the program heading in a direction that went to South Carolina, not to coach football. He went to South Carolina that hadn't won a tournament game in like 40 years. Now he led them to a Final Four, but he went to South Carolina. He didn't go to Duke. He didn't even go to Clemson. He went to South Carolina basketball from K-State. And I think when you invoke that yesterday throughout the day with K-State fans of thinking it's happened before where that splintering happened, where that distrust happened, and that coach said, bleep you, I'm out. To me, this is Jerome Tang. I don't know if he's doing it on purpose of saying this is what I've heard about how a previous coach handled it, and that's not me. So I want people to know how I approach things because Frank Martin is handling this situation different. If Frank Martin felt like his hand was forced by the president and he had to dismiss a player that he didn't think should have been dismissed from the team, I don't think Frank Martin handles it the same way because Frank Martin was more of a fight or flight. It was a constant fight because that was his upbringing, and that's how he was freaking successful. And Jerome Tang approaches it from kill him with kindness, love everybody, and you will be rewarded on the back end. And that's how he approaches things. And I think part of that was also, whether he intended it or not, I think part of that is a little bit to the K-State fans that I know how it previously went down.
Yeah.
That's not what's going to happen here.
Yeah, that's not me.
There may be a disappointment or a frustration, but that's not going to be the end result because of this, because of my passion and love for the university, et cetera, et cetera. Whether it's true or not, behind the scenes he might be pissed and throwing things and breaking windows and yada, yada. But publicly, with the fans, that, hey, you don't need to have any scars reopened this go-around. Let's move forward. Let's play ball. I love Jerome Tang. All right. When K-State plays every single team except for a team that wears black and gold, I will root for Jerome Tang. He is awesome and very complimentary too. So he's a good dude.
You don't root for him against like Purdue and UCF. That's really strange.
Matt Derrick joining us from Chiefs Digest and 41 is the Mike podcast here at ADA. Matt, there is a pretty awesome Nick Bolton framed picture, autographed, of him running into the end zone in the Super Bowl. And I saw it, and I thought of a lot of Mizzou fans, and certainly you as well. That's a pretty legit piece, if you're a Mizzou and Chiefs fan, of Nick Bolton carrying that football, the biggest game-changing win probability EPA play in the Super Bowl, and he's running into the end zone holding the ball, and it's autographed by him and the plaque and everything. That's pretty legit. That's here at ADA. They've got a number of those if you want to come down and grab one. I didn't see the price on it. I should have checked out the price on it. I'll look here in a little bit. But And I just don't want you sliding it under your shirt again this year.
I see there's a guy walking out with a Chase Daniel print signed from Mizzou that is just absolutely sweet. Getting a good deal on that one. So there's a Drew Lock jersey. I mean,
yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff here, and so many like unique things. Like I know there may not be Raiders fans in town, but there's a full-size Raiders helmet signed by Marcus Allen and Bo Jackson. Like that is a unique piece, and I don't want anything Raiders in my house. But if I had to have a Raiders thing in my house, that's perfectly fine.
Oh yeah, I would. Yeah. If that
I
was
mean,
in the budget, I would be getting that. That's still.
But also
for that, that's actually a really good deal.
Yeah, that's what I was talking to Josh
so
about.
So much stuff here. You go, well, that's actually silly that's a deal.
Yeah, it's $500 for that helmet. But
full size, signed by both of them.
If you saw a full-sized Raiders helmet signed by Marcus Allen for $500, you wouldn't blink your eye at it.
Yeah,
signed by Bo Jackson, you wouldn't blink your eye at it. But Marcus and Bo on that. So that's what I'm saying. There's so many unique things here. They got we were just talking about K-State basketball. And last year they got Marquise Noel jerseys autographed. K-State jerseys. They got tons of stuff. They got Ochai autographed jerseys, autographed plaques, and things like that from the national championship. Local hero Ochai. So they've got that as a Christian Brown stuff. They've got all of those really cool things, and we've got Matt Derrick with us.
So many incredibly valuable things all in one room.
Exactly right.
And Matt Derrick.
Hey, you're valuable to me, Matt.
I will always.
Oh man, that Nigerian nightmare print.
That poster is brilliant, right?
Oh my goodness.
I don't want to keep promoting it because I want to walk out with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I spoiled that one for you. But
Matt gets to leave first. Okay, all right. There's enough for all three of us.
Brad says there's enough left for us.
He's down to his last 1.5. He actually had to split one in half to give to sell. That's pretty legit.
If you get over here fast, there might be still some for you.
That's
but you got to get here fast.
No doubt about that. But when the ACC people thinking they got screwed in football and everything. But when we were joking about they've got so many cool things here, and Matt Derrick is with us as well. It always reminds me of I was at ACC basketball tip-off one year or football, ACC football kickoff or whatever, the media days, right? And my buddy who went to Pitt. So we were there, and they're doing the whole intro video before the commissioner talks, right? And it's all these highlights, and it's holding up a trophy, a national championship trophy, the college basketball plaque trophy that they hold up on the stage, but really it's just about holding up the net. You know what that means more than a plaque, right?
I don't even think about the plaque.
Just weird. And my buddy leans over to me and he goes, ACC, national champions, Heisman winners, college basketball, greatness, Boston College. That's brilliant. So Matt Derrick is Boston College for us.
There you go. And that reminds me of my favorite line that I like to use on you every once in a while that I stole from Steve Martin and Roxanne, which is, I would rather be here with you than with the finest people in Kansas City.
That is great. Matt Derrick is with us. 2-3 over the last 5 games. We'll start here. Why?
My picks or
well,
I think I'm worse than that.
No,
the Chiefs.
The Chiefs are 2-3 over the last 5 games.
Yeah.
Is this? Blair was asking Andy Reid on Wednesday that and I think Patrick Mahomes of you guys have had these stretches over the years. What's the reason? Can you come out of it, et cetera? And then I look back and I'm like, wow, that's a great point. They've had another 2-3 stretch. They've had a 2-4. They have a 3-4 stretch. They've had some stretches with Patrick Mahomes as quarterback. They were 6-4 in 2019. That 4th loss was their last one of the year, but they were 6-4. 2-3 now over the last 5. Why? What are you seeing from this team as to why they've dropped 3 and only won 2?
I mean, there's a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
Obviously, the last weekend was a case that was the at least the worst performance statistically from the defense all season. So as far as yards given up, points across the board, I mean, so the defense is not playing as well in at least the last couple of weeks that it has been earlier. Obviously, the offense has been inconsistent. That's an issue. But, I mean, I think that, and I was thinking about this as I was driving over. Listen to Fat Jack, by the way. making a
Lee Sterling?
kind of Lee Sterling. I get all my predictors.
Jack was yesterday.
Exactly.
If you were driving over, if you
sometimes.
left yesterday at 3:00, you'd have been here on time.
That's why, that's what happened. People think the Northland, everything's right next to each other. I mean, it's 18 miles from my house, man.
That's not far.
And still 45 minutes closer than the station.
Exactly. I didn't have to leave breadcrumbs to get here today, and I was still late. But and he was making a kind of a different point about about how the Chiefs are. This is going to be another playoff Super Bowl game for the opponent, and that's something we've talked a lot about in the past. But I don't really think that we've talked about it this year as much, which is that I think you have to factor in that the Chiefs are the team that everybody on the schedule is circling, and of late they have been putting up some stinkers against some teams for which this game was a lot more important than it was to the Chiefs. I mean, I thought the Broncos fans were going to tear down the goalposts when they beat the Chiefs in Denver. Green Bay came out last week with a lot more energy and a lot more excitement than the Chiefs did.
No doubt.
And, and their losses, I even would say that with Detroit. I think that was an issue in the beginning of the season. Did the Chiefs' energy that night match the Lions?
No.
I don't think it did. And, in every one of their losses, I think you can absolutely say which team had the momentum on their side, which team had the more energy, which team had the greater excitement. And I don't think it was close in every single one of those losses, that the other team has been much more motivated than the Chiefs have been. If the Chiefs are motivated, they're going to go out and put up a good performance. Will it be their A performance? Right now, maybe not. But if they come out and they can match the energy of their opponent, the Chiefs are still the better team on most days. They're going to probably win those games, but they can't do it when every single week when you are the most important game on everybody's schedule. And right now it's even magnified because Green Bay needed that game to stay alive. The Bills absolutely need this game. If they don't win this one, it might just be going down the tubes for them in Buffalo.
Especially with everything going on around Sean McDermott right now in Buffalo as the head coach. There is a silver lining in what you said there, though, and that is you mentioned it's their worst statistical performance defensively this year. Boy, how many times would you look back over the years and go, 338 yards given up? That's the worst performance. Good God, what's going on with the defense? How much are they struggling? I don't know, where would that have ranked in years past of defensive performances for a Chiefs team giving up that against the team? And we looked at it and go, they couldn't get off the field. They couldn't get stops. They were getting gashed in the run game. They were pounding them in the mouth. And Andy Reid was talking about part of the problem was defense has to get off the field, et cetera. And is there an issue with this defense now and how they're playing? There's the silver lining is that was the worst performance of the season. And they're a couple of plays away from giving up 17 points and winning that game and walking out of Green Bay and going, hey, it's another team in which you held to only 17 points. But that's not the case. That's not what happened.
And if I told you before the season started that the Chiefs weren't going to give up more than 27 points in any of their first 12 games, what would you think their record was?
Not what it is right now.
I think you'd probably say at least 11-1.
Yeah.
You might say 12-0. They were only going to give up 27 yards, and they weren't going to give up more than 300 or more than 400 yards in any game in the first 12 games. And this day and era, you'd say,
I would not. You know what? I wouldn't have guessed that their record would be 0-4 when teams score 21 or more points.
Yeah.
That's just
heartbreaking.
That is not this Chiefs team. That we know.
It hasn't been this Chiefs team.
It is this Chiefs team.
Yeah.
Right now it is.
But it is not the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, et cetera, at quarterback. Josh brought this up yesterday, and we never got into the discussion. So I want Josh to be involved in this. All right?
Okay, I'm ready.
You've been
on my toes.
You're shopping. Right
I know.
now.
I'm sorry. I have a Santa bag full.
Yeah.
It looks like a big bag of presents.
What are we?
I'm back now, though.
I'm changing it slightly. But what's the conversation around here? Because there's a lot of talk about wide receivers being the issue, tackles. Brett Veach is the problem, right? There's a lot of things going on in conversations. What would the offensive discussion be if Matt Canada were the coordinator and Andy Reid weren't the head coach, but the exact same thing we've seen every play, every performance?
Did you mean Matt Nagy and just say Matt Canada as a Freudian slip, or did you mean Matt Canada? Because either way, it's hilarious.
No, I meant Matt Canada.
Okay.
Matt Canada, Andy Reid, not the head coach,
right.
Just another regular head coach, and Matt Canada is the offensive coordinator, and everything has happened exactly the same. What would the conversation be about the wide receivers and how they suck and all these other things? Or would there be way more conversation about what the hell's going on with coaching?
Well, see, and it's interesting to me because if you want to criticize Matt Nagy, you're right, your freedom, but it's not like Matt Nagy's not calling the plays. Matt Nagy is not Andy Reid's the true offensive coordinator of the team.
And that's why I said Andy Reid, not the head coach.
Yeah.
That's why I said
make it a world where Steve Spagnuolo is the head coach and everything else is exactly the same. Yeah. Where Matt Nagy has Andy Reid's brain, but not his name on the offense.
And for me, I would still be in the same place that I am, which is that because to me, what you got in Kansas City and Matt Canada, and if you just wanted to replace it with just any random Joe offensive coordinator name in there, I would still say, okay, what the problem? Problem's probably on the field because Andy Reid is still one of the greatest offensive minds in this league. And is it troubling that he hasn't been able to figure it out yet? A little to me. I think it is concerning, but I also know that he seems pretty confident that they can figure it out, and the season's not over. So I would have a little bit of faith there that Andy Reid, because he's got a track record of usually figuring these things out, and he's got a future Hall of Fame quarterback that in the past has figured things out. Now, will it be to your satisfaction?
It better be.
Oh man, good grief! I love you. I love Chiefs fans. Everything's great, but if he lost in the AFC Championship game like he did the last time that the team underachieved, that's a champagne problem right there, my friends.
It is. But the logic that you just laid out is why I kind of like the thought experiment of you can't lean on Andy Reid's track record. You have to be on what you've seen from the team this year, and Matt Nagy being the offensive coordinator, again, in a world where he is actually the true offensive coordinator. I think all of our analysis mostly should be the same in this world or not. I think it's interesting as a narrative check. Because a lot of this so far has been, well, they've got Andy Reid, and Andy Reid's shown this over and over and over again, and he has earned the benefit of the doubt. And I do think they're going to continue tinkering with some things here and there, but obviously I think the biggest issue is they made some misevaluations in the offseason. And that can go to Veach and to Reid and to everybody a little bit, but or it can just be MVS got worse. He had a regression year, whatever.
Or it could be the plan didn't become the plan because the plan was signing Chris Jones long-term and using that money on somebody else.
And there was a lot put on a second-year jump for Sky Moore and on Kadarius Toney being more than he had shown that he'd been at the NFL level. It's a combination of a bunch of things. But I think that we can – again, I'm not saying this would be the right analysis, but if you said this team has come out with worse energy than their opponents in all of their losses, the offense has not taken real strides in terms of mental mistakes like a veteran wide receiver not knowing where the quarterback wants to put the football, a rookie or second-year wide receiver who's expected to take a big jump. Those are things that very frequently, fairly or unfairly, those are things that very frequently end up in the bucket of blame coaching. But Andy Reid's not going to get that, nor should he. But I think it makes for a more interesting conversation to wonder what this world would look like if you didn't have the catch-all of Andy Reid has done this before and has made excellent football teams and things are going to keep getting better. Does that make sense?
It does.
It's a thought experiment, not a hot take. I'm not trying to launch into a specific take off of it.
Has the coaching below Andy Reid, has that deteriorated to a point to where scheme and Pat can't make up for some of the issues going on the field?
And I say this with, I believe that there's a lot of levers right now that are the problem. That if you look at this as just a giant factory engine, and you've got a lot of switches. If it's a nuclear power plant, you've got a lot of switches and buttons that Homer Simpson needs to be over there pushing, and Lenny and Carl making this thing operate.
Love it.
Then everybody's the levers are just all out of whack. It's a little bit of everything. So it's not just one thing. You correct it and say, okay, well that will do it right there. But to me, it's like from the coaching standpoint. I think we have overlooked just how much turnover there has been with the assistant staff.
Right.
And as a result, how young the assistant staff is, especially on the offensive side of the football.
How green they are in their roles, not even in their roles with the Chiefs, but in their roles.
Because there hasn't been as much turnover on the defensive side.
Yeah,
it was pretty much intact this year for a second year in a row. Mm-hmm. And even then, really the only new face in there is Joe Cullen for Matt House with basically juggling a couple of positions there. And, I mean, no offense to Matt House, but Joe Cullen is a absolutely top-end defensive line coach. And so that to me was an upgrade. I mean, even as good of a guy that Matt House is, that's an upgrade. And, you know, Dave Merritt's been around for a while. Brendan Daly's been with Steve Spagnuolo for a long time. I mean, there's a lot of continuity and institutional knowledge on the defensive side, and you're seeing the results of that. Offensively right now, you don't have that. Do the Chiefs miss Eric Bieniemy? That's a question that keeps coming up. And I think, yes, they do in a way, because I don't know that, one, there's not a lot of coaches like Eric Bieniemy. And two, I don't think there's a coach like Eric Bieniemy in that offensive room right now. I mean, like, to me, Dave Merritt is kind of an Eric Bieniemy guy. I mean, that's to me. I mean, you know, I'm thinking of somebody who is hard-nosed, who is, you know, every coach, I think, holds players accountable, but they do it in different ways. And sometimes it works on some guys, sometimes it doesn't. Eric Bieniemy has a style that absolutely works with some players. Maybe it won't on others. But you know what? Matt Nagy's style is maybe going to work with some players that, you know, that Eric Bieniemy's doesn't. I don't know that there's an Eric Bieniemy on the offensive staff right now, you know. And so does that hurt? Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit. But that's, once again, that's one of the levers. So to me, like I said, I don't see this as being one giant fix, because do you need a new head coach? No. Do you need a new quarterback? No. Do you need some new receivers? Well, as my 41 is the Mike podcast colleague Nick Jacobs said, yeah, I mean, there's some parts. They're on back order. I mean, they'll be coming in March and April and May with the draft.
That's great. That's back order that'll be sent and delivered in March.
Yeah, they're back order. and one last thing, I mean, to Josh's point, because I think it's even longer term than this, and I don't want to put any 5-year plan words into Brett Veach's mouth like Carl Peterson, but I mean, being the GM in this day and age, especially in the salary cap age, and especially when you've got so many marquee players like the Chiefs do, managing the cap and managing your roster isn't a one-year fix. I mean, you have to have a long-term plan. Go back to last spring, 2022, because who was supposed to be in the receiver room for this team this year? Tyreek Hill. And that was the plan. 18 months ago, that was the plan, was for Tyreek Hill to be in this receiver room. Then not only do you I mean, the Chiefs didn't have a choice. Let's face that. They did not have a choice. Tyreek Hill forced their hand. He decided wasn't going to be on this team anymore. So that happens. And then to your point, if Chris Jones signs an extension in April instead of September and a rework deal, Chiefs have different receivers in this room. I mean, do they have DeAndre Hopkins?
I was going to say Hopkins.
Probably.
I mean, I know that it's like.
I think there's a pretty good chance.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what the deal is, but I don't think the plan as they sat there for free agency and money that they had available was Chris Jones is going to be playing on the same franchise or same salary cap hit this year that he is right now. I don't think that was the plan. The plan to sign him long term, knock that down, and then you can go and fill in some gaps and some holes elsewhere. And with that wide receiver room, it might have been that if Chris Jones got something done earlier, maybe Rashee Rice isn't on the team. You know, maybe they don't draft him in the second round, which, by the way, I'm perfectly fine with them drafting him in the second round, because for all the talk about, well, the Chiefs have missed on wide receivers and Brett Veach cannot, can't identify a wide receiver, etc. Well, if you're saying that, then stop asking for Rashee Rice to get the ball more.
Yeah.
Because those are two conflicting ideologies about whether or not Brett Veach is just missing and missing and missing. Because if you want Rashee Rice to get the ball more, then you are acknowledging that there is talent there, and it's a good pick in the second round. Therefore, he's allowed to miss on Sky Moore. It happens. Not everybody is going to be perfect. Sky Moore has not been anywhere near what people thought he would be, and certainly what the Chiefs thought they were going to get out of Sky Moore. Rashee Rice has been pretty good. And if you get if Rashee Rice becomes an 80% Dwayne Bowe in his career, and you go, hey, you spent 2 second-round picks, you found a guy that was just generic, and you found a guy that was 80% Dwayne Bowe in the second round, would you take those 2 second-round picks right now, not knowing what the names are? A lot of people would probably say, yeah, because I still got a player that was a starter and was there and can fill roles, and I got a player that could be a difference maker too in the second round. Yeah, you're not going to hit on all those. I mean, would you rather just shoot 50% the whole time or an 80 and a 20 to get to 100? I don't know. It's different people's opinion, but I think Rashee Rice has talent, and I think he's going to be better than what people view Mecole Hardman and Sky Moore in the second round. And Mecole Hardman gets a lot of flack because he wasn't Tyreek Hill.
There's a dichotomy here, because there's on the one side I say, hey, wait a minute. I'm seeing teams around the league who have receivers who are late-round picks or even undrafted players or really overlooked guys coming in and making plays. I mean, every week it seems like I'm watching games and I'm like, hey, who in the world is this making a great catch? I'm trying to remember who it was with the 49ers last week, made a catch or a touchdown, and I was like, I don't even remember who this guy is.
Yeah, I mean,
and he makes an absolutely fantastic catch.
Sunday night, you had 2 second-rounders, a 4th-rounder, a 5th-rounder, and an undrafted player. Those were their 5 receivers that were out on the field for the Packers.
And I'm wondering, well, why can't the Chiefs, have those kind of guys? Well, guess what? The Chiefs did have that. I mean, Byron Pringle put up good numbers in this system, undrafted guy. And he hasn't done it elsewhere. Yep. He only did it in Kansas City. Demarcus Robinson was what?
He was a 4th-rounder, right?
Was he 4th-rounder? I was thinking I couldn't remember if it was a 4th or a 6th.
No, he was definitely higher than 6, so he's a 4th-rounder.
But good numbers.
Yeah.
Has not done anything close to that anywhere in his other stops.
No.
I mean, peak of his career was in Kansas City. I mean, the Chiefs have absolutely, and I say Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes has absolutely elevated receivers above who they are elsewhere. So what's happening this year? I mean, that's what's the mystery to me.
Yeah.
That's why I say it's a lot of different levers, because is it play calling? Is it the quarterback? Is it the offensive line? Is it the receivers? The answer is yes. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a situation where I think Andy Reid's message of, hey, everybody owns a little part of this and a little piece of this has been more true than this Chiefs offense this year, because it is not one person's fault.
We'll take a time out. We'll come back, continue rolling, hanging out with Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest, and 41 is the Mike podcast. We're hanging out at ADA just across 9 Highway from Park Hill South. 635 and 9 Highway, our location, telling you about all the cool stuff they've got going on today, tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday. More Zone next. so that he doesn't give a lot of the inside information, the secret sauce away until it's playoff time, and then he's going to really start to pull these different gadgets. But Field Yates said that he's like, I wonder in the Patrick Mahomes era, is this sort of a regular season game that is as elevated in terms of urgency for the Chiefs that we've seen in Patrick Mahomes? Now, I'd have to go back to all of the different times. I mean, again, we talked about 2019. They were 6-4. Coming off that Tennessee Titans game, it was a bye week. The defense was like, it's never going to happen again. We're going to be different. They were after that. But there are other times in the Patrick Mahomes era that it's been sort of the, okay, this is a big game in the regular season. Does this one feel different to you from the Chiefs' standpoint? We know the Bills going into it, but from the Chiefs' standpoint, to match the desperation to a degree of the Bills?
I think it is kind of in that different category to me, and because I can think of single games over the years where it's been elevated like that, maybe for certain players or position groups or anything. Because, and there, I would have to go back and look at it. There have probably been a few others that are kind of on this scale where I would say that yes, this is a week where, this coaching staff is going to make sure that this team realizes how big this game is. And from the way Andy Reid is managing this, and just based on his personality and what we've heard from him over the years, I would expect that he's going to just empty the kitchen sink this weekend, because this is a chance to put Buffalo down.
That's what I was thinking. This is like a wild card game against Buffalo right now.
This is a chance to knock them out of the playoffs.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about if we see them in the playoffs. Then I don't want to keep this from them, or keep that. I don't want them to know or see this on tape. No, knock them out of the playoffs right now.
I mean, I am sure it is a conflicted thing for Andy Reid, because he's close to Sean McDermott, and he's aware of everything that McDermott's going through right now. I mean, he's seen it. He gets briefed on it. He's heard about it.
Sean McDermott has already said that if they lose on Sunday, it's one of the worst disasters in New York ever. He has already said that.
Did he actually say that?
No, he didn't. I'm making that up.
Thank God.
But you had to ask, didn't you? You had to ask.
I had to ask. Only because of the last 24 hours.
It would be like it might be top 10. It might be one or more or less. I don't know, but it's definitely probably 10.
Yeah,
could be one of the other numbers.
That's right. But Andy Reid does have a relationship with him. He doesn't ever want to bury a team, but he wants to win. This is like a wild card game to where you can, essentially, to a degree, knock the Bills out of the playoffs, and you keep the number 1 seed alive. If they lose on Sunday, I'm not sure they get the number 1 seed.
It gets a lot harder.
It's really tough with
because
4 games to play.
Now you suddenly put your tiebreakers into play. Yeah. I mean, and I do. I mean, just looking at the other team's schedules, that's what makes me believe that I think that the Chiefs can afford one stumble. Because honestly, I mean, I think the Dolphins and the Ravens are both going to have 2 more losses.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean, it's possible that one of them comes out with 1 loss only. I mean, conceivably, it's possible that one of them comes out undefeated in the final 5 games, but not both of them, because they play each other.
That's right.
So, but they also, I mean, the Dolphins play the 49ers or the Cowboys? I always get confused. The Ravens play the other one.
The Ravens have
I think the Ravens play the 49ers, and the Dolphins play the Cowboys.
Well, and the Ravens also have the game in Baltimore with Miami.
And they play Jacksonville, I think, who's obviously needs a win, and we'll see what their quarterback situation is.
He's day-to-day.
I mean,
the Miami Dolphins play Dallas at home.
There you go.
See, Miami has 1 road game left. It's in Baltimore. They've got Tennessee, New York, Dallas, and Buffalo at home. And Buffalo is Week 18. They might already be done. McDermott may not even be coaching then at that time in Week 18. Or that might be for a playoff spot for the Bills.
Exactly.
And who knows what will happen there.
But, I mean, it still obviously helps the Chiefs have the tiebreakers on everybody.
Yeah.
And even if they lost 1 game, they would still own the tiebreakers on everybody, because they're 6-1 in the AFC. Mm-hmm. Everybody else, I think, has 3 losses all in the AFC. Or I think maybe the Dolphins might have 2, but they're, I mean, they are ahead enough in all the tiebreakers, or own the heads-to-heads, that they're going to be fine as long as they don't stumble too hard.
Well, the Dolphins have 2, but the Chiefs also have the head-to-head over the Dolphins. So the Chiefs don't have to worry about a tiebreaker of AFC record,
right?
Because they've got the head-to-head.
And Baltimore has all 3 in the AFC.
Has all 3 in the AFC, yeah.
Right. So, I mean, the tiebreakers are all in the Chiefs' favor. Mm-hmm. So, and I don't think that any of these teams are going to go 5-0 in the next 5 games. The Chiefs have probably the best chance because they have the worst schedule of all these teams. So they've got a chance, but it starts with this game. And, I mean, for all these reasons, I mean, that's why I think that the Chiefs are going to treat this as one of their more important games on the schedule. They're going to come out focused. They know this team pretty well. It's the X factor to me a little bit is obviously Buffalo offensively, because with Joe Brady calling the shots now, I mean they've taken off the reins a little bit. They're just being a little free rolling, and that's dangerous. But at the same time, you free roll, you're going to make mistakes sometimes. And if the Chiefs can force the Josh Allen to make some mistakes, Chiefs are going to win this game easily.
We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, get his prediction. We'll see if he thinks they'll win the game easily or not. We'll continue talking with Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast. We're hanging out at ADA on this Friday. More Zone next. happens coming up on Sunday? Chiefs now a 1.5-point favorite over the Buffalo Bills. What do you got?
I don't think that the Chiefs are going to blow the Bills out, but I do think they are going to win this game. I think they are the better team. This team needs a bounce back, and if they are not motivated to come back from this Green Bay game with a strong performance, then there is going to be more questions asked next week, and Buffalo is an absolute train wreck, which is why I believe that, hey, this could fall apart for the Bills. Maybe they do get blown out, but I'm going to go with the Chiefs 28-24.
28-24. Also passing along that Isaiah Pacheco not practicing again today. That would be no practices all week for Pacheco with the shoulder injury. I will doubt he'd be out there on Sunday.
Me too.
Matt, you'll be there. Appreciate you, brother. Kendall Gammon next.
He has a different view of the world. Maybe because he spent 15 years looking at it upside down. He knows exactly how many times the ball will rotate on a long snap, and he'll juggle anything you throw at him. It's Kendall Gammon in the Zone. Brought to you by Crown Toyota and Crown Volkswagen. Recognized as the #1 place to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle. Visit crownautomotive.com to see the latest deals. Experience the Crown difference.
Yes, that's right. Kendall Gammon hanging out with us. Crown Toyota, Crown Volkswagen. Former Chiefs long snapper. Greatest long snapper that has ever lived, and Beyond the Game podcast host at KCSN. He is hanging out with us here at ADA. We are across 9 Highway from Park Hill South, 635 and 9 Highway. You can go to adafundraising.com. They've got their open house going on right now. They open up their doors 5 days a year, right around Christmas time, and that's going on right now. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, Monday and Tuesday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. is when you can come in and check out all of these amazing pieces and unique pieces of sports memorabilia, collectibles, autographs, etc. It's fantastic, and they've got so many things here. If you're a fan of different schools or Chiefs, Royals, some other professional teams that are here as well, you can come down here and check it out and see the prices that are here that you won't find anywhere else any other time of the year, because these are the items that are seen at auctions, live auctions, blind auctions, charity auctions, and you see the price on these pieces. That's the opening bid at some of these auctions. That this is the the eBay buy it now thing. That's what it is right now. It's this is your price. You pay it right now, and they've got these really cool gift bags that the mystery bags that they've got green and they've got red mystery bags. The red mystery bags have a Chiefs autographed jersey in there, and the green mystery bags have a Chiefs autographed mini helmet in there. You don't know what's in there when you purchase it. You'll find out when you leave. But there's many different players and even Andy Reid in there. A guy about 20 minutes ago pulled a Travis Kelce mini helmet. So they've got Mahomes and Kelce and Andy Reid mixed in. Yesterday, a guy bought a red mystery bag, Mahomes autographed jersey in there. You're not getting that for $70.
And if you want, I've got a pin. We can get Kendall Gammon to sign the bag if you get here in the next 20 minutes.
Well, see, Kendall Gammon is with us right now, and Kendall.
I don't have a Sharpie. You can sign whatever you want, Kendall. They told us it was okay. You can just pick something to write on.
That works.
I was worried that if you walked in and saw football, it would be Pavlov's dog, and you would just start snapping them.
Snapping, and you know what it is? You know what? It's kind of funny. When you do it for 15 years, and all of a sudden you're like, you know what? There's not a big minor league system for long snapping, so I haven't been doing it that much as of late. But it's crazy. With those mystery bags, I thought it was crazy. It's like they started flying off the shelves once Brad put a sign up there that said, absolutely guarantees that there will not be a Kendall Gammon jersey in there. And, I do what I can. If you're looking for my jersey, my helmet's been signed, they're out of stock. They're simply out of stock.
I can't even put into words
how
unironically I would love a Kendall Gammon jersey that I could wear around the world.
I think everybody would be more than a little bit surprised if you found
that's
that.
part of the fun.
Mm-hmm.
Mystery bags, no Kendall Gammon autograph or your money back.
Absolutely. I remember one time my boys and I, we were at Vintage Stock, and they actually found one, and they thought it was cool, and I was laughing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Just like, okay, and I don't know. It was probably a giveaway. I don't remember.
No, that's awesome.
I devalue things I sign.
But in reality, that is kind of cool if your kids see that.
It was neat. Yeah.
Like, I don't.
They were young. They know better now.
But like, I know there's a lot of players that, as they go through their careers, how many kids get to watch and know what dad does.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool.
I'm very lucky. When Coach Vermeil was here, and even with Herm, is when we won, the guys that had kids, if they had boys, they could bring them in the locker room after the game if we won. And so my boys still remember being in the locker room so many different times. I can remember one time, I got my chin busted open, and they came in. So they were in the training room watching me get my chin sewn up, and they're just looking at me like, what the heck is this? It was kind of funny. But, those are my best memories, is them coming in the locker room with me afterwards, and then being on the field, taking them out into the middle of the field after the Pro Bowl. So those are the things I remember.
That's really awesome. That's really cool.
This place, though, you're not going to forget if you come in here. This is fabulous.
It's unbelievable, man. It's so cool, all the different things here. Do you get sort of immune to being like a sports fan or even a kid at sometimes when you see some of these things when you were around the locker room and so many people asking for autographs and you were around those players? Does that speak to you maybe it did as a child when?
Not as much as when I was a child. It would have been much neater. I grew up a Cowboys fan, actually, so I was in that genre. But it's not lost on me. I understand it. I don't seek it out. I have some of my teammates' jerseys framed. I have a few of mine framed. I have, from the Pro Bowl, I have an AFC helmet that has Tom Brady on one side and Peyton Manning on the other.
That's pretty cool.
So I think that's kind of cool, some things like that.
You
but
bought that
general,
yesterday from Brad?
I did. Actually,
he just turned right around and looked at you and was like, whoa, you got that?
Actually, Brad knows about that because I've talked about maybe selling it because at a certain point in time, you're just like, you know what, I don't know what it really does for me. And some people might really – that's pretty unique. In fact, I would go to say that there's probably very few, if any, like that. So, I'm a trendsetter. I realized that when it was going on.
But you could have the only helmet signed by Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Kevin Gammon.
That for a fact.
You could. It would be one of one.
Actually, there might be some type of, if they just realized it, there might be some type of cease and desist order that came from Branning or Mady. Just like, no. We don't want our John Hancock on that. So, I'm sorry, or Herbie Hancock.
It's Herbie
on
Hancock.
That. Absolutely.
But
Peyton,
D+.
Peyton, actually, I got to interview him live on stage a couple years ago down at Pittsburgh State University. He came and spoke for an hour. So myself and at the time, Dr. Scott, the president, we were on the stage in the Bicknell Family Center for an hour talking with him, and just a great dude. And he acted like he remembered me. I don't know if he really did, but he acted it. He played it well, so it was good.
I heard Peyton Manning, and this is just total aside, that I like picking the brain of professional athletes. But complete and total aside, when you mentioned Peyton Manning, he talked about pressure versus nerves, and because he said something about he didn't really feel pressure, and you're like, okay, come on, man, that's dumb. And so whatever the interview was, and I'll have to think back and try to figure out what it was, but the follow-up was, you really don't feel pressure. I mean, come on, and he goes, well, the difference to me between pressure and nerves is pressure is when you are unprepared.
Right.
He said nerves, it's okay to be nervous. That means you care. That means you want something.
That's what I say, yes.
But if you feel the pressure that's coming on you, he's like, that's
that
because
means you're not ready.
You're not ready.
Absolutely.
You're unprepared.
Yep.
And I never thought about it that way.
It means you become uncomfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. I never thought about it that way. And he's like, nerves. I got nerves all the time. I got nerves every game just because it meant so much to me. But he was like, the pressure was the week leading up to it, and making sure that I was as prepared as possible to go out there and do that. I'm like, I never viewed it that way.
Yeah,
but
and if he didn't like it, he simply yells Omaha and he goes to something else.
That's right. Yeah, he does that in life too.
Yes, he does.
He picks up a can of chili beans, Omaha, and picks a different one.
Exactly right. There's somebody that's got life by the throat right now. It would be Peyton.
No doubt, because he's got Omaha Productions, he's got the quarterback series
pretty
on
amazing.
Netflix, the Monday night football with he and his brother just sitting around, and that's the crazy thing is they approached him.
Well, they did, and it's funny story about that. So when we were backstage before we were getting ready to go on a couple of years ago, that was before it was the off season before they were going to do the Peyton the Manning broadcast, and so he was talking to me about that. He goes, Kendall, I don't want to be studying who the third string linebacker is for Oakland if people get hurt and have to talk on that. I want to just sit down there and talk, and it'd be like we're in the basement having a good time, and it'll be fun. And he goes, I'm looking forward to it, and it was really we had a great conversation beforehand, and he's definitely just a genuine person.
Did you know his setup? So Eli's setup is at his actual house.
Okay.
Peyton's setup is at his neighbor's garage.
Is it really?
Yeah.
What?
His neighbor. Peyton didn't want to redo something in his house, so his neighbor apparently owed him a favor. This was that same interview. Oh, I remember what it was. His neighbor sent a text that meant to go to somebody else, but he sent it to Peyton Manning after Peyton had like 5 interceptions in a game. And the neighbor sent the text and actually sent it to Peyton and goes, do you think Peyton actually has money on this game? He is awful today.
Oh, my God. And then, that's amazing.
And so,
folks,
and that guy lives like
anywhere else.
2 houses down from Peyton Manning, right?
Wow.
So he joked about it. He's like, well, he owed me a favor, right? And so that guy's garage has been redone to be the set for the Manning broadcast. So when Peyton Manning is on the set, he's actually got his buddy's garage down the street from his house.
That's shocking. I had no idea.
I had no idea either. Eli's just in his basement,
I assumed that they were just kind of in their basements. I don't know.
He's in his buddy's
Basement garage, tomato.
He's just in his buddy's garage.
Just walking a couple houses down the street in a quarter zip, just getting ready to roll in. And
that's a hell of a story, though. If you're out without Peyton and you're talking about, well, you know what? I mean, he's in my garage right now.
That's exactly right. Yeah. That's in my sure guy.
Sure.
Yeah, and Eli's doing it from my garage.
Honey, you're going to Buffalo Wild Wings to watch Monday Night Football again? Yeah, Peyton Manning is in our garage. Okay, yeah, no, sure. No, I'm sure she's a treat.
Well, he's a guy, so
it's Peyton from ESPN.
Come on. Kendall Gammon is with us from also a podcast that is a very good one, Beyond the Game podcast, KCSN. And you just had what, Greg Stills?
Gary Stills.
Jesus.
Yeah. It's okay.
I actually talked to Greg Stills the other day.
You get Greg Wesley soon, maybe? You can at least get a Greg in there?
Gary Wesley. Yes.
Gary Wesley.
Come on.
It's pretty good.
It's outstanding.
Greg Stills.
We're getting it. GID, we're getting it done right now. Fight, battle, compete.
Oh,
GID, Gary and it done.
You know what? For the next 15 years, if we are interviewing you, Kendall, I just want you to randomly drop a Greg for a different name. Well, head coach of the Chiefs, Greg Reed. Good God.
Remember the former Wichita State basketball coach, Gary Marshall?
That's right. Greg Pinkel
with
at Mizzou.
With two Y's, actually, for the
Greg Pinkel at Mizzou.
Loved Greg Pinkel's work.
He was great. As a former player, you watch a game and you see the last minute of the game and how ridiculous that was in some of the calls. Do you get annoyed by it? Do you just simply take it in stride? How do players actually feel about publicly? We know how they feel about it. You can't leave it to the refs. And well, Mahomes, I could have thrown it farther and he wouldn't have been tackled. Travis Kelce saying, that's fine. It's part of the game. Being pushed in the end zone, that's part of the game. What are you going to do? As a player, how are you actually leaving a game like that?
I mean, you understand. You know that was a bad call, but you also, most people, if they got a head on their shoulders, you also know there's like, wait a minute, okay. As you've said this week, I think both said, they should have had a chance, 4 chances at getting it in from the 5-yard line. One, getting it in 1 out of 4 times, that's a pretty good chance that they'll do that. But then they got to go 1 for 1 on a 2-point conversion, and that's just getting you tied. So I think you understand that was not the game. Generally, 5 to 7 plays a game always, going one way or the other, determine what's going on. I've always said that. And whoever makes the most plays on those 5 to 7 generally are going to win the game unless just it's some anomaly that's just kind of out there. So it is what it is. You understand the refs. I mean, you're not happy with it. Listen, I've heard all the talk about the refs going full-time, whatever. These refs, they do a pretty decent job. I go the opposite way. It's tough on the bang-bang plays, and the fact is they put in a whole bunch of time during the season and in the off season. They have physical tests that they have to go through. I say all this because I've got a good friend who just retired this year. This is his first year off. He was a referee in the NFL for 27 years, and so I know what they do and what they go through, and it ain't easy. And they get graded each and every week, and if things aren't going well, they do get let go. So it's part of it. And that being said, just use the damn sky cam.
Thank you.
Just for plays like this where it's egregious and they just made a mistake. Because quite honestly, I mean the Saints several years ago, they got robbed, but they did not go to the Super Bowl because of a poor call. How we're still here where we are, considering that happened a few years ago. And I understand that they made the rule and that went too far the other way, but figure it out. I mean, again, and then I keep going back to, well, we're still measuring 10 yards with chains. So, baby steps, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jordan Love, it's 2nd and 10, and he scrambles to the sideline, and he goes out of bounds at the marker, running left to right on the TV screen, and the ball is in his left hand as he goes out of bounds, a full yard short. And then there's he's in the Chiefs' sideline, so the official drops a little beanbag where the spot is and then runs over to help out, and he comes back, first down. Like, what? Like we're just randomly picking out a spot where that thing might be. It should have been 3rd and 1. Do they pick up the first down in the first half with A.J. Dillon running like he was? Probably.
Yeah.
But in no way, shape, or form was that was a yard short of the first down. And because Jordan Love wasn't even trying to get to the marker, he was trying to get out of bounds, and the ball was in his left hand.
Yeah, and those balls have sensors on them. That's why how you get the AWS, all the stats and everything going on. They have the chip in them. So they know where the ball's at. And so they could be doing that electronically as well, and they don't. And I don't understand. I mean, hell, the Packers evolved. They gave Jordan's mom a seat in a skybox this time, as opposed on top of the top of the lights. So I mean, they're evolving. So why can't the NFL? And they will. They'll eventually get there when you have too many of these type of things.
Yeah, no, it's I'm glad you went there, because that was going to be my next question. Should they just simply take care of business and just have the sky judge? And when those
I don't know why you wouldn't.
Well, I mean, when those referees on the sideline are having a discussion about Patrick Mahomes, is it a 15-yard penalty or not? It's very easy going, he was still in bounds. There's no flag on the play. After discussion, there's no flag on the play.
Yeah.
First down.
Exactly.
Or second down or whatever.
Hey, my buddy was in the league for 27 years. He said, I asked him one time, I said, does it intimidate you with that? He goes, I think a few guys were a little bit, and I maybe was at first, but then when it comes down to it, we just want to get the play right. And, sometimes we don't. We don't have the angles, and we know all the stuff. It's not slow motion, everything. So why not just have it, and we just need to not have an ego and understand that sometimes we may be wrong, and they've got a better angle, and it is right that way. And that way, everything's served for the better.
Yeah. Hail Marys, should there be pass interference on Hail Marys, or should it be just the ball's in the air and free for all? As Kelsey poo-pooed it, like, well, it's part of the game. I mean, it's going to be a physical play. That's what happens. Should it be that, or should it be actually officiated the way that other parts of the rule book are officiated, which would certainly change the way that Hail Marys would go. Would also result in more.
Probably, it would have to,
receptions
and
completions of the Hail Mary. Should they do that, or what's your view of watching somebody just get open, two-hand shoved with the ball in the air?
I think you ref it the same way personally. I think you just call it the same way, and it is what it is. I don't see, because otherwise it just becomes a judgment call. It's like, okay, well, how much do you let it go? Do you let it go an extra 25%, an extra 50%? It becomes even more subjective than it already is in my mind. So from my standpoint, I would say just don't hit the center. No, I'm sorry. I would just say call it the way it's supposed to be called.
Yeah. Did you hear my idea of how the Chiefs should do Hail Marys moving forward?
I did not.
Okay, here you go.
And I apologize.
No, you're good. I'm glad you didn't, because I can restate it.
Well,
you'll be hearing it for the first time.
Nice.
If defensive players can just do whatever they want, so here's my alignment. I've got Noah Gray, Blake Bell, Travis Kelce, and Rashee Rice on the left side of the field. They're running down the field.
Take them out.
Ball's in the air. Noah Gray and Blake Bell are there just to knock the defenders on their ass.
Right.
And then you've got Kelce and Rashee Rice to win a jump ball, maybe one-on-one against somebody, a defensive back that's probably smaller. That if the defense can do it, why can't the offense just push and knock guys to the ground?
You can't do the wedge on kickoffs anymore. Can you do it on Hail Marys? Is there a rule about that?
The flying V.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think we can make this work. I think you can flying V your way into this.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
The competition committee is going to take this one up. No doubt.
But, I mean, why can't
I agree. I heard that earlier this week. You talked about that, and I thought that was a pretty valid point. But, you're right. It doesn't make any sense, really. It's kind of funny. Most everything is geared towards the offense during the game, but then at the end it's geared toward the defense a little bit.
Yeah, because, you don't want the refs deciding the game. Well, they kind of did. When they don't throw the flag, they decide the game.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah. Kendall Gammon is our guest. You mentioned sometimes the game comes down to like 5, 6, or 7 plays. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes from a just an outsider's view, it's kind of hard to sort of grapple with, like, there's 8, two teams that running 60 plays, you got 120, 130 plays a game, and you're like, really, there's 4 or 5 plays. And I went and looked at the last 2 losses. Now, this is the advanced stats, things like that.
Okay.
With expected points added and win probability percentage with individual plays. A lot of them are like, 0.001 or whatever. Like, here's a first down run of 3 yards, generic. But if you look at the biggest game-changing plays in the Packers game, 6 of the top 8 plays that had the highest win probability percentage added for one team or the other and expected points added were the Packers. 6 of the top 8 plays in the game all went the Packers' way. And against the Eagles, 3 of the top 4 plays that were the biggest game-changing, swinging plays went the Eagles' way there. So those are the last 2 losses. Is it trying to, put lipstick on a pig or trying to gloss over some of the issues if you say, this play or that play is different? Like, for example, the Philadelphia Eagles game, the interception interception in the end zone for Mahomes that was intended for Justin Watson,
right,
and the Travis Kelce fumble down at the 6-yard line. Those 2 plays alone gave the Eagles an added win probability of 29.7%. The advanced
Proves our
stats,
point, right?
Yeah, the advanced stats say those two games were worth a third of a win and 11 points added. 11 points added on those two plays. Well, if you take those away, they beat the Eagles. The interception from Mahomes when he was looking at Sky Moore, that gave the Packers 13% extra win probability. The 4th and 1 completion with Jordan Love, that gave the Packers 11.2% win probability. Those two plays, 25% of the win. That's 4 plays in the last 2 games that are big portions of a game. Like, it's hard to say, well, yeah, it didn't come down to 2 plays. There's so many other times in there that you could have made a play. Right. Absolutely. A first down run could go for 40. It went for 4. But the biggest game-swinging play, Super Bowl, the Chiefs made it. Nick Bolton, scoop and score. They made the biggest play. They won the game. As a player, even an analyst or a fan now, you look at that. Is it trying to look for the glass half full of what's going on to say, well, this team could very easily be 10-2 if a couple of plays that were huge game swingers went the Chiefs' way and not the opponent's way?
No, because you're analyzing. First and foremost, this interview is getting tough because that was a lot of math.
Sorry.
And, no, damn, your drunk tests are hard. But
let's blow into this.
But no, because we're analyzing everything after the game. You don't know it when it's going on in general. And then the fact is, it's just the truth. If those plays go the different direction, it does change the probability of the win. They didn't, so they are what they are. But it's not unheard of. I mean, it's not crazy to have that argument and say, if this had gone this way, and probably if you went back into past years, you would come up with things where the Chiefs were making those plays and they were getting those wins because of it, and it's just part of it. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can look at in the NFL, and when you win, I was talking to somebody the other day, and Dee Ford, when he's offsides, I'm pretty sure it was on the far side to where he was on the side. Yeah, exactly right. Yep. If he's, I will always contend, if he's on the other side, that call doesn't get made because they're not going nuts, and there's probably a lot of things. Go ahead.
There have been 0 illegal formation calls on Jawan Taylor from the official on the Chiefs side.
Somebody did it. We talked about that. Okay, so somebody did it.
Half the game, Jawan Taylor is facing the Chiefs side, is closest to the Chiefs sideline. Half the game. Yet not one of the illegal formation and false starts have been on the Chiefs.
I didn't know it. I hadn't heard that. I assumed that. And the fact is he's making more than he's getting called for, as is a whole bunch of other tackles in the league also. It happens. It's been happening. It's going to happen. It will always happen. Yeah. And it's hard to change your spots as a Leopard. So guys keep doing it. And the fact is the refs can't call it every single time.
Yeah. And I think the human element comes in there as well, as you talk about being on a certain sideline.
Yep.
I contend, and I will go to my grave 100 years from now, and that the pass interference flag was not thrown because the Patrick Mahomes penalty was thrown
about it.
because they saw the replay on the
they
jump.
do.
They saw that was not a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, they don't have horse blinders on.
Yeah, and then the next big play, well, we're not putting that for the Chiefs too. Nope, that is an incomplete pass. And if that Patrick Mahomes play doesn't call, there's 4 flags flying in on that one because that was a tackle. That was easy, and I think that's the human element of whether it's a makeup call or not. It's just we're not. I don't want to be the story that we keep screwing the other team and helping out the Chiefs here.
But if you have the sky cam, it's got all. I mean, this is seriously.
If you have the sky cam, they're switched.
Exactly, and you have somebody back in New York or on site. This nope. You pick that up. We've got a better view, and just say we've got a better view. And if they're afraid of getting their feelings hurt, they say, listen, it's not you, it's us. But you guys are doing a great job, but you're wrong on this. I'm joking around. You just don't get your feelings hurt, officials, and I don't think they would. I think they would embrace it, in my opinion.
Kendall Gammon's our guest. Does there need to be a conversation, or would there be one just as, hey, I'm the coach or the player, when somebody throws a punch like Pacheco in that situation where they should have had the ball at the 35-yard line? Instead, now they've gone all the way back to the 50-yard line. Yeah. They get back to the 33. That's 17 more yards they picked up. I mean, now you're talking about being at the 18 inside the 20 as opposed to being at the 33 when you're trying to complete those 4 downs. Does there need to be a conversation with the coach of with a player of don't do that? Is it just arbitrary, or just like, well, this is what we have to do. I've got to talk to him. Or is it sort of understood that maybe even a look like that's stupid? You can be upset all you want, but you cost your team 15 yards there.
Yeah, my general opinion is there's no doubt in my mind a conversation was had. As a leader, you address people who make mistakes. And he's right. You do get heated sometimes, and you like that spark. You don't want to take it away from people, but those are things that can't happen. We saw Travis Kelce do stuff like that early in his career, and for the most part, he's controlled it, and even owned up to the fact that he was a little bit of a knucklehead at times. I don't mean that in a bad way, Taylor. So when it comes to Tay and Trav, but all the same, yeah. I mean, I would think so. But again, that's the thing. I remember this all the time. Back, when I was playing and I was listening to shows like this or whatever, we as the public out here, we come up with what we think's happening, whatever, and we don't have the ability to be inside the walls. And I remember back then when people were talking about things and I knew it was completely wrong, I never took it bad, or I just kind of chuckled at it because I was like, how could they know? I mean, they don't have the access that we have. They don't have, and we don't have that access now. But if I were taking a guess, I would say, yeah, things have been done and talked about.
Yeah.
They have to be.
Yeah, but it's also part of it to where it's like, okay, as a responsibility as a leader, I'm going to have a conversation with you. I think Pacheco probably knows as soon as he was walking to the sideline.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was dumb. What am I doing? I can't let that happen. I can't do that in that situation. Chris Jones had that happen. I don't remember who it was against.
Right.
It was a night game when he went and chucked was it against the Broncos? It was against the Broncos. They were up 16-0, and then they ended up going up 16-8. But it was against the Broncos. They had got the stop, and he then chucked the offensive lineman after the play was over, 15 yards. And then the Broncos, I think, scored on the next play to Cortland Sutton. Like, he knows better.
You know what you do. I've got a dog before, and a friend came over, and the dog nipped him a little bit. And the minute he nipped him, tail was down, whatever. He knew he screwed up, and he's walking away. And, he just got excited or whatever. And that's what happens with you do things in the moment, in the heat of the moment, and all of a sudden you realize, it's part of it.
Yeah. Bills game this weekend. What's your anticipation level for this one? Do you think the Chiefs come out with more of a spark and a focused sort of energy that they've talked about, that they didn't come out with their best effort? Defensively, certainly they've talked about that. But how do you think the Chiefs come out, and how important do you think this game is on Sunday?
Well, I think it's very important, but it's very important for Buffalo as well. So maybe more important for them when you look at what their record is and what they're doing. And, of course, they have the rest, so that's a big thing. I still think the Chiefs being at home, that's just a tough place to play. They want to get that taste out of their mouth. They're 2-3 in the last 5 games. Yeah. So I just feel like they're going to win it, although Vegas sees it as basically even with what the line is, because evidently if it were in Buffalo, it would be Buffalo's way. So I've got the Chiefs 21-20, but this is a game that could go either way.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. Matt pointed out, and I thought it was a good point, that every once in a while we'll see a particular unit or a side of the football that will be challenged. And as he said that, I had to go back and look because I forgot what game it was. Last year, after the Colts game when the Chiefs lost and the offensive line was terrible in that game, and Andy Reid then went and challenged the offensive line that week. He had talked about the offensive line, what they need to do and what they weren't doing. And we're like, if he's challenging that offensive line, the next week is when they played the Bucs. And the offensive line was just freaking dominant. Right. And it was a great game plan, and Nick Bosa was in the spin cycle. Just from what they were executing against him, and the Chiefs put up like 40 points or whatever against Tampa. That was Tampa.
Bucs wouldn't have had Bosa. The Niners would have.
Yeah, which game did they play? Whichever one they played first.
Those two.
Whichever one they played after the Colts. I think it was the Bucs.
Okay.
Later on was the 49ers. So I think it was the Bucs. So I was thinking Bucs, but then also the 49ers, they were really awesome offensively. Whatever game was after the Colts, they came out and had one of their better offensive line games. Right. It was just dominant.
I do remember
because Andy Reid had talked about it all week, the offensive line. The offensive line talked about him like, this team.
It was the Bucs next.
Okay. Well, how many points they put on the Bucs in that game?
Just 41.
41. Okay, there you go. Mick Schaefer's going to be here soon
He'll be
as
here
well.
in a minute.
Sports director, KSHB 41. I don't know that this team offensively is like that team a year ago. We haven't seen that, but
pretty sure they're not. Yeah,
that's exactly right.
I mean bad. They were just we know what we have right now. The sample size is big enough.
Absolutely. But this is one of those to where it feels like an entire team.
Agreed.
More of like, okay, we got to go out and show it, not just offensive line better go out there and dominate because Andy Reid's talked about you in the media all week in the Andy Reid way.
Right.
That's my feel for this game, but I don't know.
I agree. I mean, I would think he is and would be and continues to challenge the wide receiver room. I mean, we are what we are. Well, who the Chiefs are is who is there right now, and so for them to get to where they want to go, different groups have to step up, and that starts with the wide receiver group, in my opinion.
All right, you got 21-20
I got 21-20.
21-20. There we go. Kendall Gammon joining us. He's presented by Crown Toyota and Crown Volkswagen. Also, check him out, Beyond the Game podcast, KCSN. A fantastic interview with Gary Greg Stills. Greg. Kendall, you're the man. Appreciate it.
Thank you all, as always. I enjoy it.
Absolutely. There's Kendall Gammon. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone right after this. Hanging out at ADA. We'll tell you more about what's going on here, what we're doing, and how awesome this place is and what you can take advantage of here at ADA in the Northland, 635 and 9 Highway, right across 9 Highway from Park Hill South. ADAfundraising.com. More Zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thank you to Kendall Gammon joining us. Love the conversations with Kendall. We are hanging out at ADA, where he just was, where you can be today, tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday. ADAfundraising.com. Right across from Park Hill South, 635 and 9 Highway. They open up their doors 5 days out of the year. There are 4 days left. 5 days out of the year. It started yesterday, today, tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday. And they open up their doors, and you can come in and see all of this fantastic memorabilia, collectibles, autographs, these items, these pieces that would be great in any man cave or whatever it might be around Christmas time. Certainly gift for yourself, whatever it might be. They are the company that when you are bidding on particular items, these are the items you're bidding on. The difference is when you see the price tag on these items, it's not the opening bid. It is what you simply pay for that. You are not grossly overpaying for the online bids on websites. You can actually see, by the way, it's not just a stock photo, which is great because sometimes online you see just a stock photo of what it might be that you're getting. This is tangible. You can pick it up, you can touch it, you can fling it across the room at somebody and
Don't
pay for
do that.
it. If you pay for it, that's fine.
You could outbid yourself too if you wanted to.
Exactly
if
right.
This is too low. You say, "No, I'll do 150. No, 200. 250. They'll take that.
$100 for the Bobby Bell seat back. I'll go 150. No, I'm actually going to go 200. You shut up, guy.
If you want to come here and be an idiot, you can. It's great. It's a safe space for idiots.
See the McElhaney and Sweet D that were the guests on the Kelsey podcast because they live in Philadelphia from It's Always Sunny.
No, but I finished Wrexham last night, the first season.
Awesome.
So catch up on that.
So they were telling the story. So Kylie had a Eagles jacket that she wore, and then they put it up for auction to go to a great charity, and that thing it went for like $90,000.
Christmas.
And
a lot of richer people on the East Coast.
Rob McElhaney was on with them, and he was like, yeah, I kept bidding and bidding and bidding. He's like, because it's awesome. He was like, and it'd be a great gift for my wife and everything. I'm bidding and bidding and bidding. It gets to like 60, gets to 70.
It's just a jacket that Kelsey wore, that Kylie wore.
That Kylie wore to a
game. Is it even autographed?
No, it's just a regular Eagles.
She may have signed it. I can't remember.
So you can go and buy that exact same jacket for probably $200. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, but just wasn't worn by Kylie.
Doesn't have her DNA on it.
Didn't go to charity, right? Didn't money. And so he goes. Little did I know, I was being outbid in my own house. And Sweetie slides in and goes, "This guy's an idiot. He knew I liked it." They were bidding against each other, not knowing that the other was bidding.
That's amazing.
She ended up buying it. She ended up winning the bid, but he's bidding and she's bidding, and they're both getting pissed. They're not talking to each other about the bidding.
My wife and I would argue over one of us spending $90 on something we didn't know about. This is $90,000.
They just put it in the Eagles Pro Shop. Like, that's just, you could just buy it there.
Yeah. But
it's all going to the Eagles Autism Foundation.
Yeah, so they're in their own house. He and his wife are bidding against each other, not knowing. She's like, It's a women's jacket. What are you bidding on it for? So I thought that was great. It's sort of like you bidding against yourself here on these particular items.
Sweetie's
at
the best, though. Caitlin Olsen.
It's great. It's so good, man.
All-timer.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've only watched the first couple of episodes of Wrexham, and I know I need to watch it.
I was the same way, and then
sorry, I'm on their website here for the. What did you say you thought it ended at?
Like 90?
Yeah, like at $100. Flat 100,000.
She paid a flat 100,000 for that jacket.
According to the website. And Kylie Kelsey did autograph it. So,
okay, so it was autographed by Kylie Kelsey.
Wow. Okay, sorry. You can go
on.
I
remember what the story was.
I'm sure this jacket's like $400 or $500 bucks to just get.
I remember what the story was. Rob went all the way to 62,000, and he said, "I don't know that I can go more." He goes, "I went as high as 62 because that was my favorite Eagles player's number."
Love that.
62,000.
Love that.
And it ends up at $100,000 to buy it. And he's like, and it was in my own house. And she slides in the camera like Chris Collinsworth.
Yeah.
They're like, "Sweet D." She's like, "It's a female jacket. Why are you bidding on
it?" And I imagine they're probably friends with the Kelseys, right? They probably just borrowed it.
That's right. Yes. They probably just.
I think you could buy this jacket for $100 retail.
I tell you, the old school retro that logo there of the Philadelphia Eagle merch is really sweet. I love the old school.
Is that the extent
Eagle with the big wings on the white, just on the white jacket?
It's on the back.
It's pretty sweet.
Now, do you think this jacket's worth $100,000? Because that's the back of it.
Yeah, totally. Now, yeah,
it makes a difference. Yeah, once you see it from the back, then it starts to become worth a lot more.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia made them a lot of money.
Yeah, to where they can bid against each other in their house for $100,000.
Because they have an done a whole lot else except buy a soccer team. And she was in that movie with Woody Harrelson, The Champions or whatever.
Yeah, she's done a couple movies and things like that, but Sunny has
she
made
did
their
the
lives
Mick
very
for like
bright.
one season, which was a good.
Yeah,
good
that's right.
series.
Yeah, I need to watch Wrexham. I've heard it's pretty good.
It's good. It's uplifting. It's like Ted Lasso, but reality.
Yeah,
documentary.
I mean, I've seen some of the them, getting advanced and things like wow, the owners that get there and care and spend money and things like that, like they have money to spend, but you can change the culture around. And all of a sudden, this thing is now a pretty damn good, football club. Because these guys go there, and it's like, and
I mean, at that level, it's all about money.
Yeah,
and I mean, they got guys to come down 2 or 3 levels to play for them and to coach for them, and so they should have moved up.
But they've also got now people in America that are fans of Wrexham, that are buying their gear, that they're getting, sales on, just merchandise and things like that, where. Otherwise, I had never known that Wrexham was a football club or anything like that. Wrexham damn near knew them.
Right.
Great name,
metal name. Love the name of the town.
Yeah.
But I'm the same way. I mean, it's just a huge coup for the town. I mean, those guys coming in and all the extra revenue streams that come in. They have TikTok on their jersey. It's basically like a single A baseball team, right?
Mm. They're the Savannah Bananas of international soccer.
Yeah.
It's a different
before that,
level.
They were worse than that. I mean, and then they have TikTok sponsoring them, and Ryan Reynolds doing commercials with them, and like you said, all the merch that's being sold over here. Yeah, I think they're about to move up to the 3rd level this year. I looked at the standings; they're in 2nd place in like that EFL 2.
Yeah, they've been pretty good. It's a different level than what nationally or globally is done with the Chiefs with Taylor Swift. And that impact with all the merchandise and the Travis Kelce stuff. I think the Travis Kelce game-worn jersey went for a record sale at some auction over the weekend. And they're like, well, yeah. Turns out Swifties are bidding on it as well. So a game-worn jersey went for like 50,000 or something.
You have not ancillary members, but kind of outside members of the Kelce family, like Kylie.
Yes.
Just stuff she's worn.
Yeah.
Getting sold for $100,000.
Their mom, when the Eagles Monday Night Football game, was working at what was it?
Raising Cane's.
Raising Cane's, and she was giving like life advice to
giving
kids.
out chunky soup at the tailgate,
signing
At
autographs.
this point, if you're a Kelce cousin, you got to be like rubbing your hands together. Okay, this is it. My time's coming.
Yeah, be ready.
Pretty soon, it's going to expand to the cousins.
Unless, of course, a Kelsey cousin and like your mom, got married and changed the last name. Like, thanks a lot, Mom. You couldn't have kept your name, hyphenate it. It could be Kelsey, whatever.
It's not too late. I'm changing it back at this point.
Yes, you should. We'll take a time out. We'll come back. We are hanging out with Mick Schaefer. We will get into a number of different things here with Mick. MUKU basketball is tomorrow, a big football game with the Bills and Chiefs coming up on Sunday. Sean McDermott will be coaching the Bills on the sideline, at least for that game. We'll see if how many more with the scathing piece that came out around the Buffalo Bills and the 25 different coaches, players, some still on the staff, that weighed in on his coaching style in a particular meeting that invoked 9/11, which is never really a good idea. So we'll talk about some of those things. We'll get mixed thoughts on Naquan Tomlin. So a number of things to get into. We're hanging out here at ADA, 635 and 9 Highway across from Park Hill South. Tomorrow, Luther Burden will be here signing autographs starting at 5 o'clock. So Luther Burden is part of the open house coming up tomorrow. Today, open house going up until 7 o'clock. Tomorrow, same thing, Monday and Tuesday. We will take a time out, come back, continue rolling. More Zone next. Wrapping up this hour, we will continue rolling along live from 88. We'll hear from Andy Reid in a Fast Friday. We told you a little bit ago in the 11 o'clock hour, Isaiah Pacheco not practicing again today, so that is 3 DNPs this week with the shoulder injury. I wouldn't expect, if you're heading out to the game, I would not expect to see number 10 running around there in a Chiefs jersey. So step up Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jerick McKinnon, and Deneric Prince. Come on down. We'll see. It's a big game, and if this offense, we've talked about that, boy, Pacheco's been a big part of why this offense has had really much success. Okay, no Pacheco. So now what do you do? How do you go and move the ball and score some points against a incredibly motivated, you would think, Bills team coming in on Sunday? We'll hear from Andy Reid in a Fast Friday and continue with Mick Schaefer here at ADA.
Go to GuaranteedFoods.com.
All right, hanging out here on this Friday at ADA, 635 and 9 Highway, our location, across from Park Hill South. Go to adafundraising.com and see all the awesome stuff that they have here. They open their doors 5 days out of the year. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday. Their doors will be open. You can come in and see all of these fantastic pieces of memorabilia and collectibles, autographs. These are great pieces to have in your possession or as gift ideas for sports fans in your life. And they also have these really cool mystery bags, which are they're two different colors. There's a green mystery bag and a red mystery bag. Each red mystery bag has an autographed Chiefs jersey. Each green mystery bag has an autographed Chiefs mini helmet, and you never know which one you may get in that. Earlier today, somebody scored a Travis Kelce mini helmet. Yesterday, they were telling the story of a guy who opened up his red mystery bag, and it was a Patrick Mahomes jersey, which you're not getting for $70, which you're getting these mystery bags for. So these are pretty awesome, and there's other things in there as well. But yeah, you can walk away with and they've got the list of all the different helmets that may be in there, right? The different helmets or jerseys, the autographs there. But yeah, so they've got Kelce and Mahomes and Andy Reid. They don't just have one of them. They've got multiple Kelce, Reid, Mahomes, different things in there. So with the jerseys and the mini helmets. Your mic?
Hold on.
You drop your mic?
Button.
He dropped my mic.
Oh,
I don't touch that thing.
That's fine.
I dropped a business card and some cough drops in there just in case that increases any sort of value.
Makes sense.
Appreciate that.
Makes sense. Yeah, mystery bag. Whose business card is this? Mick Schaefer's. All right. Good for you, man. Ended up with Josh Briscoe autographed mini helmet, but I did get a Mick Schaefer cough drop.
You'll get a better helmet than that, but again, I will sign the bag if you want me to.
Okay,
That's
very good.
as far as I'll go.
All right, let's hear from Fast Friday, Andy Reid at the podium.
Today we're Cook, Pacheco, Donovan Smith, and Tranquil, and they'll be listed as out. Look forward to the challenge of playing the Bills. Good football team. Love the atmosphere that we invite them into with our fans. I know they'll be loud and revved up and ready to go. And so anyways, we've had a good week of practice, and time's yours.
You've had a whole week without those guys. Just what have you seen from the other guys stepping into their place?
Yeah, well, the guys that are stepping in have played, so that's the positive part of that. And so it's not new territory, for them as they get in there. So with the way Spags rotates people, that's happened. Then the way Andy rotates the offensive line, that works too. So, but anyways, that they've done good. Yeah.
Coach, fair to say Clyde will be the first back to touch the ball at running back, and what are your expectations for him?
Yeah. I mean, we've got different personnel groups, but yeah, he's the number one guy. Yes.
Matt talked about him a little bit yesterday, how he's been such a great teammate. Clyde has this year, even though his role's been diminished. What have you seen from him and his professionalism throughout?
Yeah, he's done a great job with all that. Yeah, he's a good kid. Clyde's a good kid, and the chances he's had to play, he's done very well. So.
Andy, with Ryan Cook and Isaiah Pacheco, any sense that they're candidates for IR?
We'll see. Both of them are kind of being evaluated right now, so I'm not going to say anything on that. But we just, we have to see on that.
I know it's game week, and you're playing against Sean. He's one of your former coaches. I don't know how aware you are of some of the things that have been written about him this week. He's having to defend himself a little bit. You talk to him during game week, or is he one of those guys you talk to, and words of encouragement for him?
Yeah, I mean, listen, none of us talk during the week. I mean, that's just how it goes. I mean, we're also busy doing our thing. I can just tell you, Sean McDermott's a heck of a human being, so that's what I do know.
With Isaiah, with the shoulder bruise, is this the same shoulder he had the surgery on last year?
Yes. Yeah.
Andy, what role does depth play for the defense as far as just the season that they've had so far?
Yeah, well, they've done well, and we've been able to get a lot of guys in. I mean, one of the things Spags does is he plays his guys. If you're dressed down, you kind of know you're going to be in there somewhere. He'll have somewhat of a package for you somewhere. So, in a case like this, it helps you, just familiarity-wise.
You also have the Deneric Prince last week, and obviously there's a chance again this week. How has he been coming along, Deneric?
Yeah, he'll be up this week. Yeah.
How have you seen him kind of develop?
Yeah, he's done a good job. Smart kid. So, and then, he's more comfortable with the offense and than he was in the preseason when he had to go. But we have confidence in him. Good catcher and big kid that can run.
Good.
All right. Good. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, there's Andy Reid talking about the Deneric Prince, who will go right across the parking lot to go see if he can be a good catcher for the Royals as well. Yeah. If they trade Salvi, you need a backup catcher.
Deneric Prince has something else going on, in a busy stretch of a few days for him.
That's right. I mean, he's going to be playing. He's going to be up on Sunday. He was up last week with the Green Bay Packers game as well. He's going to be here tomorrow, 1:30 to 3, having a toy drive. Here at ADA. You can come and donate toys and clothes or just simply a $25 donation. It's going to a great cause, and you get a free Deneric Prince autograph, a picture, whatever, and he'll be here. So that's pretty cool that in partnership with Holiday Heroes, the Deneric Prince toy drive going on. So
you might be able to say that you got your Deneric Prince autograph right before he started recording his first NFL carries. He was up last week, like you said, but never actually got a touch, and I bet that changes on Sunday.
What? And Luther Burden's here tomorrow too, right?
He's here tomorrow, 5 to 6. He will
Big
not
day.
be for the Chiefs on Sunday. That
God,
would be
I
awesome.
wish though.
Who will touch the football first in the NFL, Luther Burden or Deneric Prince?
I think Deneric Prince is touching the ball on
this
Sunday.
year. Yeah,
I think he's touching on
He's got
Sunday.
this year and next year to be able to touch the football. But, yeah, the Chiefs are an immediately better team if Luther Burden is on the Chiefs on Sunday.
He's got one more year.
You're damn right he does.
Yeah,
damn
excited
right he
about
does.
that.
Yes, he's got one more year.
Would you forego
With
that?
NIL, maybe 10 more years. Who knows with college athletes these days?
Exactly right.
Jason, would you forego Luther Burden's final year of eligibility if the Chiefs' first-round pick this year was allocated to him?
Yeah.
He
You just wanna
graduates
cheer
a year
for him.
early, but he's a Chief receiver.
Yeah, because then I get to cheer for him with the Chiefs, and the Chiefs become better, and they've got a better chance of winning the Super Bowl. I don't think Missouri's winning the national championship next year.
Not with that attitude.
Not with that attitude. Yeah, whether you think you
I
can
think he
or you
elevates
can't.
Missouri a
You're
lot
right.
more than he elevates the Chiefs,
Ooh.
who are already right there going to AFC championship games and Super Bowls every single year. I think he could be the difference between Missouri making and not making a 12-team playoff.
And, well, here's my rebuttal to that.
You're right. Is that your rebuttal?
No, my rebuttal is you're wrong. Suck it. No, my rebuttal is Mizzou got 2 years of Luther Burden. Now the Chiefs would get 4, at least 5. So it's not just for 1 year. He plays for the Chiefs for 1 year or plays for Mizzou. You can put him on your team, and then you've got him as your
But
receiver.
if you take him
moving
with Mizzou, there's still the chance that he ends up with the Chiefs after that.
Doubtful.
There's a 1 in 32 chance.
I don't think that's how odds work.
I don't think so. That would be the same odds of
Caleb Williams,
Maserati Marv.
could
He's
be
not
on
going to be a top 3 pick.
There was a mock draft of the number 1 pick of the 25 draft was Luther Burden.
I'm mocking that mock draft. No way.
He is wide receiver 1 in that class right now.
I mocked it as well, but
Yeah,
I don't think he's the number 1 pick. But he is
Like top 15 feels
There could be
about
some
right.
trades. Chiefs
will
could fall into
sign-
like a top 10
sign
pick.
me up. Sign me up. Because it probably isn't this year with their only 5 draft picks. Now, if they end up trading some people and having to do some of that, and they
sprains
go,
an ankle late, slides
Why are
into
you-
the 20s.
now you want to injure him?
Everybody comes back from ankles. It's fine.
That's exactly right. Yes, Trevor Lawrence is like, it's fine. I walked a mile.
He'll eventually be fine.
With my
He's
ankle
practicing a
injury.
little bit too, so maybe the Jags were onto something.
Maybe they
Anyway.
were. But yes, Luther Burden will be here at ADA tomorrow from 5 to 6 signing autographs. So that's pretty cool. You can meet Luther Burden. And I've been told that they have some things in the works for maybe a guy named Cody Schrader. Luther Burden, maybe again, we'll see. Brady Cook, things like that. Some other, players with different programs. That's just what they're working on right now. So that's pretty cool with the Cotton Bowl coming up. And we'll see the MVP of the Cotton Bowl, Cody Schrader. I mean,
You calling it?
Yeah, call it.
let's see. Tony Temple, Henry Josie, Cody Schrader. Cotton Bowl MVPs.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Got to win first, but I like Mizzou's odds now that nobody's playing for Ohio State.
Yeah. The line has moved 8 points Mizzou was 5.5
now
dogs.
favored.
They're now 2.5-point
So I
favorites.
told somebody, get them now. Fake money line
Get 'em.
now.
I mean, get them now. I mean, if it's not, get them on Monday, or on Sunday would have been the time to get
No, that's
them.
that's what I was talking.
Yeah,
about.
right. I see what you're saying.
The person might have been you, actually.
No. I was like, don't worry. They're going to be dogs by like 15. I'm going to wait. I know Vegas. I know where this line is going. Not a big deal. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the number one guy that will be playing. But as he mentioned, the guys that are out for Sunday, Brian Cook, Isaiah Pacheco, Donovan Smith, and Drew Tranquill are all out. That means that
it's Wanya Morris time.
Wanya Morris time. He's played 51 snaps the last couple of weeks, 46 of those coming against the Packers. But I think he held his own. He looked fine in that game against the Packers. He'll have the entire week to practice with the ones now. I don't know how much the offense will change because, by the way, they were chipping and bringing help to Donovan Smith, too. So it's not like they're going to go, now we've got to change our whole approach and we've got to help out our left tackle. Well, good news, bad news. Bad news, they've been doing that all year. Good news, they've been doing it all year. So if Wanya Morris has to step in, then that's just
So we know about Bolton? Will he be
he'll
back?
be playing.
Yeah.
Well, he's not off the IR yet.
Right.
So, but it
they can
seems
do that
like
tomorrow.
The reason that Brian Cook is quote still being evaluated is because they're going to wait to the last second to make all these moves. So I would bet that Bolton's officially activated tomorrow. Cook goes to IR tomorrow, and Pacheco's probably just a healthy scratch, or just a scratch, not a healthy scratch, obviously. But a week-to-week scratch would be my hope. Certainly, if that's a 4-week injury, that would be pretty surprising.
Yeah, it would be. It was surprising.
Donovan Smith and Drew Tranquill also, though. Sorry to catch up, but both of them are in weird little windows where it's not surprising that either of them are not playing against the Bills, but they're probably not short-term IR candidates for a concussion and a stinger. But for the first time this year, the Chiefs are actually going to have game day inactives who are usual players. And their roster's not really set up for that. They're sitting 2 or 3 defensive linemen I think it's been 3 defensive linemen every week in B.J. Thompson and Malik Herring since a minute who came back, and Neil Farrell. So you got 3 defensive linemen who have been healthy scratches every week. There's not necessarily super obvious replacements. So maybe we see some more practice squad elevations too.
Yeah. So I mean, Deneric Prince was one of those guys a couple of weeks ago when they elevated him with Jerick McKinnon being out. So those are the injuries. We'll see what happens
Jack
this
Cochran
Sunday.
too, maybe.
With no Drew Tranquill, it'll be Jack Cochran time. Hopefully it's Nick Bolton time that he's back and playing. Because I mean, we played the clip from Mike Dana, and Mike Dana said that in the locker room on Wednesday, he said, well, yeah, it's no surprise that, we weren't on the same page, the different levels, the defensive line, the linebackers, and the secondary, that we weren't all in communication there. And he goes, it's pretty obvious when you look at the film.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of obvious when you take away your play caller of the linebackers. And then Justin Reed's talked about how Brian Cook has made a lot of the signals and a lot of the audibles, and he's the one, barking the communication between everybody in the secondary. So that means you're playing the fourth quarter without your linebacker that's putting everybody in position, and your safety that's putting a shocker that they were not all in concert, the 3 levels. Now you've got a full week. That'll go to Justin Reed in the secondary, Nick Bolton. Hopefully he's back. Now everybody on the same page. You can do something a little bit better against the Bills, who have changed their offense from being less horizontal and more we're going to go right at you since they've had Joe Brady as their offensive coordinator as opposed to Ken Dorsey. That's the way that the Raiders and the Packers approached the Chiefs, was right at you, downhill. And we'll see if the Bills do that or if the Chiefs lock it up and play better and their better communication, all of that stuff. But it's a huge game. And they've said they want to make Trent McDuffie said, we want to make a statement that the way we've played the last couple of weeks is not who we are. Okay. It's a big opportunity to make a statement against an offense that's been playing better.
Just take the statement of, we're not going to blow the AFC West.
I think that's what he was inferring.
Yeah, that statement works.
Yeah, that was the inference with that one. So Andy Reid was asked about Sean McDermott there by Todd Lebo with the story that is out, Tyler Dunn, and he's got a Substack that he's got subscribers to, and he's covered. He lives in New York, right? He's covered Bills and for a long time, and he has a 3-part series about Sean McDermott, essentially. Sean McDermott being the issue, the problem, why the Bills have been struggling the way that they have. It's called the McDermott Problem, Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. There is one element that has gained a ton of traction, and that is the attempted meeting, or at least the meeting.
The meeting happened.
The meeting happened, but the attempt to draw a parallel to being on the same wavelength in communication and working together as a team to overcome certain obstacles. This was something that Sean McDermott had decided he wanted to use. It writes here, at St. John Fisher College in Pittsburgh, New York, McDermott's morning address began innocently enough. He told the entire team they needed to come together. But then sources on hand say he used a strange model, the terrorists on September 11, 2001. He cited the hijackers as a group of people who were all able to get on the same page to orchestrate attacks to perfection. One by one, McDermott started asking specific players in the room questions. What tactics do you think they used to come together? Question. A young player tried to methodically answer, what do you think their biggest obstacle was? A veteran then answered, TSA, which mercifully lightened the mood. No one could fathom this insanity, said one veteran. I don't know why he's oh, wait, I'm trying to find where's the oh, darn it. Where did it go?
Which part are you looking for?
The second part.
Just the remainder of
the remainder.
insane 9/11 comp?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, that's the one right there that you're looking at. I think
That's the only one. There's more to it than that, though.
It was like 20,000 words.
Yes, that is true. That is true. Trying to find the excerpt.
No one can fathom this insanity is how that one starts. If you lost that, I'll read it.
Oh, there it is. No one can fathom this insanity, said one veteran. I don't know why he's that awkward, but his social skills are lacking. Maybe he's just wound up thinking about ball. You've got to talk to the team every day. That's one where maybe he heard it on a podcast. Next episode, that's not the one to lead with. He was trying to bring the team together. It was a horrible, horrible reference. He missed the mark. Added another. Supposedly what he was trying to get at was obviously what they did was horrible, but how a unit that is tight-knit can do something that's as crazy as hijack planes and fly them into buildings. Kind of like how some people say Hitler was a great leader. Almost the same thing he was trying to say with Al-Qaeda. Added another. In his brain it was, if evil can accomplish this, then imagine what we can accomplish doing things the right way. The message was just effed up. Let's see, another coach. Go ahead and read that one if you have it.
Yeah, he doesn't have bad intentions. He's just so clueless that he couldn't believe that it was a big deal when the players were losing their minds. One player blacked out during the speech. He walked out to the practice field and one thought crossed his mind. What the bleep just happened?
Sources blacked out?
I think that's probably a metaphor.
Fell asleep.
Sources credit Kyle Williams for smoothing things over. The longtime Bills defensive tackle was in town after retiring the previous season, and then they tried to do some mending after that.
Which may or may not have worked. I don't think it worked there. Here's Sean McDermott yesterday afternoon at his press conference. Here he is opening up his press conference with a couple of follow-ups with addressing the 9/11 comments made in the team meeting.
I want to reference the team meeting that has been brought up. My intent in the meeting that day was to discuss the importance of communication and being on the same page with the team. I regretted mentioning 9/11 in my message that day, and I immediately apologized to the team. Not only was 9/11 a horrific event in our country's history, but a day that I lost a good family friend. And so with that, I'll turn it over to answer any questions you might have.
To make sure we're understanding the story correctly, it was referencing the hijackers.
It was mentioning 9/11 in the context of the team meeting. That was the goal of the team meeting, was about the importance of communication and being on the same page as a team.
Are there any other things in the report that you wanted to dispute or discuss, just since we have you here?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm not here to discuss the article that's out there and the things that are mentioned, other than this right here, because this right here is very, very important to me. And something I take very seriously.
Was there a specific reason you had made that reference? You know, like, why did you decide to use that as the reference that day?
Just awareness around a horrific event more than anything, and a situation that I lost, as I mentioned, a family friend, really multiple family friends, and that was it.
So there's his explanation as to using the terrorist attack and the actual when somebody has to clarify and say just to make sure we're clarifying correct. You were talking about the hijackers.
Yeah.
That's not a great clarification that needs to be made in a media session, but that's exactly what happened yesterday with Sean McDermott because he was talking about having a organized group pull off some unthinkable thing. And guess what? We could do it in football, guys.
I mean,
we could do it in a sports ball thing.
This is the only example I could think of to compare it to.
Right.
What else?
If only he lived in a country that has a few hundred years of great military conquests.
Right. I mean, Neptune Spear. They killed bin Laden. I'm pretty sure there was a lot of organization, a lot of teamwork and communication that went into planning, executing the, killing the.
How about the strangers on the plane that was headed for the Capitol that decided to band together to take that down, right?
Let me tell you how I
about
experienced this. I got the push notification of something along the lines of Brian Dibble. I've got a thing up over here about him. Sean McDermott apologizes for 9/11 comments, whatever. I saw that and I'm like, oh boy, I don't know. Did he just make some sort of, it was like 9/11 comparison? It's like, oh man, did he do something along those lines? What Mick just is like, oh, I guess that could have been in poor taste maybe if it was out of context, whatever. And then I opened it up and I saw the quote, and you could have given me 1,000 years of guessing for why he was apologizing for that comparison before I would have gotten to he was using the terrorists as an example of good communication. That is. It is beyond Michael Scott. It is.
Right.
This is 6 levels beyond. This is the Scott's tots of an NFL team meeting.
I went to
watch one doc on the Navy SEALs, right? Come back with that story.
Right. I mean, I mentioned Neptune Spear, but Operation Neptune and storming the beach at Normandy and D-Day. I mean, June 6th was like a year in planning. You have Russia and America, and you've got the UK, you've got Canada, you've got 1 million different troops that came together for this operation in 44. They weren't just jumping on their comms to text everything. They planned that thing for a mother bleeping year to come together that had the phases of the moon, the bleeping tides, the time of day, all strategically planned. And you went the hijackers, if you want to talk about one of the greatest of people coming together and figuring out something for a huge cause and pulling it off, I mean, how many months did they spend throwing the Germans off the scent? Part of the operation was misinformation. They had to go about misinformation and know what the right information was, what's the misinformation that were leading to the Germans, all of that stuff. That's an incredible feat in 1944.
TSA didn't exist back then. It was, getting on a plane back then wasn't what it is now.
Right. I mean, just unbelievable. There are a lot of things in American history that you can go to and discuss about great feats that happen. It just
use Star Wars. Do anything other than that.
So the next step to this to me is okay, he said that. That's obviously dumb, and people can tell they're as much as they can in good taste jokes, or just at least they're offer their criticism, maybe not jokes. But to me, if you're somebody in New York and you're going the route of trying to rally a team, be a leader of men, and you're using hijackers of the planes at 9/11 as the reason, I'm not sure you can be the leader of men for my organization. If you don't know that was not going to be received correctly, then you don't know your team and you don't know how people think and act and how they feel and emotions of a human. I don't know that you can be a leader of 53, 60, 65 men trying to accomplish one goal if you're not smart enough to know that I probably shouldn't invoke in a positive light the terrorists of 9/11.
I mean, it's definitely a question you ask yourself and you ask the people in charge of your organization. Look, I've always thought you could say we live a lot of seconds, a lot of minutes every day. I realize we all say something stupid quite a bit, and
I talk 20 hours a week.
You do. a coach, right, who's out there, they're walking on eggshells all the time. We complain all the time how stuffed shirt they are and how much they keep things close to the vest and how cliche they are. There's a reason for that. It's for stuff like this. So this alone, I don't know. They have to weigh that, but I don't think there's any coincidence. It's coming out during a down season for the Bills. And this happened, 3 years ago?
What did they say, 2019? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's not a coincidence it didn't come out the week before they were playing an AFC Championship game.
Well, and also, I mean,
what I'm saying, wins will save his job, and that's the only thing.
Right,
exactly.
But he's fired everyone else he can blame except for Josh Allen.
That's
right. I have now either read or listened to all three parts of this piece. The last part, a lot more, and the parts 2 and 3 are about Josh Allen and
because there's more stuff than this to this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's a sentence I never expected to say ever. The 9/11 thing is not the most damning part about Sean McDermott. Like, it's horrible taste.
Yeah,
it's a horrible moment. It is shocking. But in terms of him as a head coach, there's a little story in there about during his time with Carolina, he thought Cam Newton was ruining the team. Like there is some fundamental disconnect in like quarterback play style, his management style, the guys that leave for lateral jobs around the league because it's not worth being in Buffalo anymore. I mean, it paints a damning picture of that organization, right? And specifically of McDermott right now. Actually, Bean comes out looking great.
The sort of general consensus feel that I got from the story of people that were talking about the leadership issues with McDermott and why the thing is failing and failing fast. There was a couple of anecdotes. This one says, those who've left the team separate fact from the fiction. One assistant coach first points to a clip that went viral locally. During a Q&A segment of a speaking engagement, a woman asked McDermott about his work-life balance. His answer, she relayed, was emotional. The coach apparently said that he often sleeps in the office and wants to show his 3 kids how important it is to go all out to win a championship. This assistant was flabbergasted by what he labels a, quote, flat-out lie. If the Bills lost, sure, the head man might burn the midnight oil until 3 a.m., but he claims McDermott never stayed the night. He couldn't remember McDermott ever being in the building when he left. Not once, he added, and I never speak in absolutes. Plenty of times coaches tried to find McDermott to ask a question, but he had already left. His point is not that coaches should be sleeping in the office. He's talking about the athlete or the assistant coach. Said smart coaches realize over time how counterproductive it is to physically sleep at the office and operate on fumes. Rather, it's the fact that McDermott felt the need to project such an aura. Said, quote, for somebody to say that they did it because they think it's cool, because they think it gives them a tough guy image, that makes me sick to my stomach. For a guy to sit there and flat out lie and fly that up the flagpole like, hey, this is how committed I am and this is how tough I am. One, if you're really doing it, you're fooling yourself. But if you're lying about it, you're a fraud. And that's the biggest issue with the Bills. He's a fraud, and he's a finger pointer. He also talks about an assistant, a former coach, saying those that have worked with a head coach on a day-to-day basis predicted all of this season months in advance because they've seen how McDermott operates on a day-to-day basis, how tangibly nervous he gets in close games, how he's never truly appreciated his gift from the football gods, Josh Allen. That's why one coach in June began by asking a simple question. If they fail again this year, what does ownership do with Sean? 3 seconds later, he answered his own hypothetical. Next year, if they fail, you know who will be the first person he serves up? Ken Dorsey. That was back in the offseason. He said the coach wasn't quite sure how McDermott would put Dorsey's head on a stick. After all, it's the head coach's beloved defense that has melted in 4 straight postseason losses. The honeymoon period with fans ended a long time ago. Pointing a finger at breadwinning quarterback again surely wouldn't work. Yet even back in June, this assistant knew his old boss would find a way to deflect blame. Watch. If they sputter at all during this year, the narrative's going to be all about the offense.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he fires Ken Dorsey, even though the offense has been pretty good. I think it's going to be tough to come back from with that for Sean McDermott. But, Mick, you're right. Win out, make the playoffs, make a run, and prove that you still have the locker room, or get blown out on Sunday. And then it's like, okay, well, this week things started to splinter, fracture, really the foundation's cracking. And maybe that's already there, and it just collapsed. And now it's like you've totally lost the locker room because they feel like they're out of it.
He was fired by Andy Reid. And Andy Reid, for the most part, is loyal, and according to a lot of Chiefs fans, to a fault on guys, right? I don't know how many coordinators he's let go. I can think of Bob Sutton.
Yep. After holding on a little too long.
One more year for Bob Sutton.
Maybe a couple more years. Yeah, and a guy that I think in a lot of places would have been let go, years before that. Yeah. Let go in Philly of McDermott, and that story's been told. I'm sure there's maybe a couple others. But Andy's a loyal guy, right? And if you're bought in, you do a good job, he's going to, stick with you and a lot of times elevate you, a la Doug Peterson or Matt Nagy, who took on jobs and didn't work out there. I guess one won a Super Bowl, but was fired a couple years after that. So that could be a red flag. I always kind of wondered why that was the deal, but yeah, no, that's it's a bad deal. Hey, the Chiefs could use an opponent undergoing some turmoil heading into a week.
Yeah, the last time they did, they beat that team, 41-10? The Bears?
Yeah, the Bears.
I don't know if any tractors or equipment has been stolen from the Bills facility. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. We'll get some predictions for this weekend, and then we got the cuts before the show is over. Hanging out here at ADA, 635 and 9 Highway, across from Park Hill South, ADAfundraising.com. 5 days only when they open up their doors. Yesterday was the first day. Today, tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday, and you can come and see what you're buying. You don't have to just check out some stock photo. It's where you can buy the things here that are all part of auctions, and you don't have to bid on that. You just simply look at the price, which, by the way, is pretty damn cheap, if you ask me, for what you're getting. And certainly if that's an opening bid price for some of these awesome pieces. We will take a timeout, come back, continue rolling. More Zone right after this. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Loving life today as we're hanging out at ADA. This is where men go to find the things for their cave. You know, sometimes you go in your cave. This is where you go to decorate the cave.
Or your lady layer.
Lady layer. That's exactly right.
Oh, is that from something? I feel like
yeah, that was Mick's nickname in college.
It definitely wasn't.
No, that was tripod.
Oh, yeah, you were a TV camera. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
I did a lot of TV work.
Right. You had a pogo stick.
No,
Right,
it's
absolutely.
what do they call it? It's a she shed. Which
She
is not a
shed.
thing.
Yes.
She shed.
Man cave's not a thing. I've never called my basement, which is amazing, by the way, a she shed or a man cave.
I was going to say you didn't call it.
Yeah, man cave. I should have said
Yeah,
first.
yeah,
Or lady lair.
Okay, that's fine.
Or it's just a basement, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
for
There's no cave. There's no spelunking.
Good for you. And
That's a good point. No stalactites or stalagmites?
None of them.
Stalag.
And that's,
Might get to the ceiling. Stalactite on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Tight points down.
Tight,
Might
that's-
points up.
I was going to get there.
Yep. And there's the KSHB 41 Sports Director.
You know,
That is,
Missouri has the most caves of any state in America.
That's
pretentious.
shocking to
That's
me.
the pretentious Mick Schaefer.
Is that true?
Oh, yeah. Spelunkers from all over come to Missouri.
That's wild. Is it okay if it's a man cave if you have bats in there? Because they've got bats here.
I think that would qualify it as
There you
a
go.
Hang some bats from the ceiling.
baseball bats, or
Yeah,
like,
sure. Well, then it's a man cave.
I'll give you some awful disease
You know what?
bats.
Either
Down
way.
in a cave, people wear hard hats. They got helmets here too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
So
could
I
spoil
feel
it
like
in your basement.
I feel like this is a man cave, really, and you got to wear a uniform when you're working in a cave typically. So I feel like you've missed the mark here. But way to
Just
judge
get
people.
this stuff and put it in your basement.
But
That's all.
but
Or your office or your attic or whatever, man. I don't know.
way to judge people that call it a man cave. Good for you, Nick. Hope you sleep better tonight. We're at 88.
I do too, because I've had this cough. I sweated through the sheets a couple nights ago.
You've been
I do
chopping
too.
down trees all day. You understand what that does to the environment? How do you sleep at night? Well, I'm tired from chopping down the trees. So typically, that's how I'm able to sleep. It's exhausting is
Yeah,
really what it is
so
to be
tiring.
able to do. Hey, is somebody going to raise the roof this weekend, Josh?
I think so, and I'm going to get specific for the Chiefs. Raise the Roof, of course, brought to you by Shamrock Roofing and Construction, Kansas City's local residential and commercial roofing contractors. One call does it all, and I think the Chiefs' call is now clearly going to Wanya Morris. He's going to start at left tackle. He's going to have a whole game at left tackle because Donovan Smith is out. Prince Tega Wanogo out from a long time ago. It's really Wanya, Juwan Taylor, and Lucas Niang. If Wanya gets hurt, maybe you kick Joe Tooney out and bring in Nick Allegretti. I don't know. But we're going to see a full game for Wanya Morris. And if he gets a few games, or maybe the rest of the season to start from here, the Chiefs could really get some good information about their left tackle position going forward.
Love it.
Be great to not have to invest in that again this upcoming draft. So I think he will raise the roof. Brought to you by Shamrock Roofing and Construction. One call does it all.
All right, let's get to our predictions. Mick, we'll start with you. Chiefs
Wins
and Bills.
Losses. Singular win, singular loss. Gosh, I don't.
They could tie. You get two ties.
Done thinking this is the game where they break out the Chiefs offense. I do like the Bills are in turmoil and off the field and on the field issues. I believe the Chiefs defense can bounce back, hopefully with Nick Bolton back, even with the injuries. I'm going to say 19-17 Chiefs. Just an ugly score, an ugly game, but come on. We all know it's coming, don't we?
19-17
That's all they do.
Chiefs. Dylan, what do you got?
I kind of feel like Mick feels. I think it's going to be very ugly. I'll go.
Stopped up and stuffy.
Yes, always. I'll go 21-17. That's pretty. It's pretty weak to do to Mick there. Price is Right style.
No, you're fine.
So
no, you're fine. You got an extra. You had an extra safety. It's not a big deal. Josh, what do you got?
I'm going to go 24-21. I'm going to say it's a field goal game, Chiefs. Chiefs win because I do think the Bills' defense stinks, but it might not matter.
I am going 24-20, and I've had a bad feeling about this game all week, and I'm going 24-20. I think I'm going Buffalo.
Do it.
Whoa!
Yes.
I don't want to.
All right.
I hope I'm.
Let's go.
Hope I'm wrong. But,
So you'd rather be right than have everybody keep this radio station on right now in their cars.
Exactly right. Yes. No, I want to be wrong. I would love to be wrong. I just had a bad feeling about this game all week. This is an incredibly desperate Bills team.
Yep.
They're still talented, and the Chiefs continue to be off a tick, even against the Raiders they won, but they were down 14-0. I mean, they could have been down 17-0. I don't know. I think they got some figuring out to do still. Mizzou and KU. I'll go first. I think KU ends up winning it. By a slight margin of probably double digits to double digits. I'm not sure. There is no line out because it would be against the rules of humanity if a college basketball line was released the day before. Ken Palm has
there's got to be reasons. They got to want more action. I mean, the more days it's out there, the more stuff
they're
you
smart.
get on it. But they're smart about it.
Ken Palm has it at 13, so I'll set the line at 12.5, and I'll take KU minus the points. We go to then Josh, since we're going in reverse order.
I'll do the same. I'll take KU minus the points.
I'll be there. I just want to see Hunter Dickinson and Connor Vanover just
have a
going at it for the 11 minutes that Vanover plays.
Have a height off.
Yes,
have a 7-footer off.
Vanover will wit.
He will.
5 to 7-2.
Very tall.
I like the Jayhawks by 10. I'll be there. I'm going to go 75-65.
So you're going Mizzou plus the points, but KU winning.
If it's minus 13, yes.
All right. And Dylan, what do you got?
Same as Mick. Mizzou plus the points, but KU winning.
Dylan and I are like kindred spirits.
I think Dylan's got a lot of things going on
One of us
right now.
is the spirit animal for the other one.
Dylan has so much stuff going on right now that it's like, Dylan, your turn.
What Mick said.
I just heard what Mick said.
Yeah.
Mick, I'm going to go with Mick. He is very smart.
Very accurate.
We will take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show. We got the cuts coming up next here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, hanging out at ADA 635 and 9 Highway, right across from Park Hill South, one of our favorite remotes of the year and an awesome place to be today, tomorrow, Monday, Tuesdays. You get these deals on stuff that you just won't find really anywhere except for some of these auctions, and you are outbidding people, especially some of the unique stuff that is here. We'll take a timeout, come back, cuts next. you listen to this? How many polyunsaturated fats are in this thing? All right, let's get the cuts rolling here as we wrap things up on a Friday. Dylan, take it away, sir.
What kind of boost can Nick Bolton provide in that regard?
Well, I'll tell you what, he boosts me.
Let's give us bags.
Oh, let's do the let's go Star Wars. Let's do some leisure.
There you go.
Do you want the question that's out there? Did you hear that one?
Oh, no, that's too easy. Give me the hardest Star Wars you got.
Man wants a challenge. Rey is given Luke's original lightsaber by whom?
That's really that hard?
He was so disappointed. I want a challenge, damn it.
Nate was nervous that maybe he talked to you too much at the art exhibit, which he's been guilty of a few times. Did he overstay his welcome in any conversation when you saw him last week?
Well, why are you picking on Nate?
He's the one that brought it up. He said it.
No, I have a tendency to,
he goes, I hope I didn't talk to him too much. I said, well, Nate, that's a distinct possibility.
Yep.
So
Dave Doran.
Nate's got the right last name now. If he had a different last name, he may not have got the attention. The Bukatys are family to me.
Dave Doran, they had him on earlier. Why are you picking on Nate? Somebody's defending Nate.
Good to hear.
Thank you, Dave. It takes the head coach of North Carolina
Well,
State.
Dave's a Bishop Miege guy.
Bishop
Nate's
Miege guy.
a Bishop Ward guy.
That's exactly right. Yeah, and the Bukaty's good friends with Dave Doran.
You need two bishops for a chess game.
Cool.
None for chess.
Keep going.
I can never tell when he's in or out. It's like a magic man.
Oh, boy.
Keep going.
Knew that one.
Don't stop.
Knew that one.
Play on again.
This feels weird. I didn't know you guys actually did radio leading up to one. I thought it was a bit we were doing for like 4 years.
One of us needs to leave, Mick. We've already finished an hour together here now, so
yeah.
I was going to volunteer. I was hoping.
He volunteered as tribute.
You hear the door slam there.
Did you hear the door?
You sure could. Yeah.
Needed it.
Just so you know, I would punch someone in the face for you, even with the helmet on.
Cynthia Freeland said she would fight somebody for me.
She's maybe one of the greatest million humans that's ever lived, which is quite a compliment.
Absolutely.
There
Very
have
high
been
percentage.
hundreds
Lots
of billions of people. Yeah, she's top 1 billion.
Yep.
What's the day in, day out taking care of your instrument at this point?
Honey.
I mean his voice, by the way.
Oh, boy.
My honey.
Still honey.
Still honey. The
Both
answer
ways.
still stands.
I'm watching a hungry boy get fed right now.
That's right.
There's a couple other Kellogg products I'm offering out here now. The Pringles Bowl would be pretty sweet.
Shill for Kellogg's, aren't you?
I mean,
free product.
More edible mascots.
That's all you want.
You got to rock that Pop-Tart,
Mr.
man.
Pringle.
Maybe in 15 years we'll have an edible mascot.
Yeah, well done.
Well, they just kind of save that for later till I can give it to you. You know, the facts.
Gotcha.
Love it.
That, Derek, love it. Anything else?
Gotcha.
Butts down, balls out.
Yes!
Yeah.
What'd I say?
Dylan, he couldn't hear it. Can we hear that one again, actually?
I think we need to hear it again one more time just to head off into the weekend. Who knows?
Butts down, balls out.
Butts down, balls out. I think that was Rasheed Rice.
That's how Mick Schaefer lives his life.
That's how I live my life.
Quarter
Butts
mile
down,
at a
balls
time,
out.
butts down, balls out.
Butts down, balls out.
Suns
down,
out, guns
balls
out.
out.
Nope.
Put that on a
You go
t-shirt.
suns out, guns out?
Yeah. Skies out, thighs out.